you have any tape, Joe? Okay, stay. Sheila.
Never give in. Never give in. Never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
This country can't be knocked out with one punch. We get right back up again, and when we do, the world's going to hear the roar of our engines.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
You do your work, and we will do our bit.
Republic. I like this sentiment. It means people can live free, talk free, go or come by or sell, be drunk or sober, however they choose.
Are you ready to be who you are?
No poetry, just a straight answer.
The government has deliberately sought to deceive the United States by false statements and expressions of hope for continued peace.
We are men of the hood, Mary, now you're explaining.
But there's no both sides anymore. They're just trying to wreck our goddamn country. It's time for you younger guys to take over.
You meant to be here tonight. This is your time. Their time is done. It's over. Screw them. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
If you guys don't start thinking as men, we're gonna have a lousy country.
For the crimes of incitement to cause unrest, I decline to be an outlaw.
Hey everybody, it's the Outlaw Radio Network for the 19th of November, 2023. As you can tell, full studio of me. For the next 3 hours, you get to look at my pretty face in studio and Paul's beautiful mug, broadcast live from the St. Paul compound and taxidermy shop in the middle of nowhere. And look, ladies and gentlemen, not only is he not wearing a scarf, but he's actually covered the guns. Hello, Paul. How are you, buddy?
Oh, Lord, that was fitting. So
please don't be so formal. Call him Kevin.
Look at, I even shaved my upper lip.
I know.
Huh?
I was trying to figure out if we had a bad connection. It was all fuzzy or what it was. But I'm like, what?
I'm going to turn this light off right over the top of me.
Yeah, turn off all the lights. We don't have to look at you, please.
Well, that light was a little. Oh no, wrong light. My bad.
The wrong light.
Here's the thing. Yeah. So here's the thing, Kevin. Maybe that'll be better. It's just there was that bright light right behind my head, and it made it.
Yeah,
I couldn't even look at myself. Okay. Well, I could turn it back on. I mean, we do want a good reference, an appeal there, right? So, it's St. Paul for a reason. Next to godliness. Oh my goodness. No, you know what? I just felt like doing something different. I realized how much gray there was in the facial hair.
Yeah.
Wow, it's doing it again. So, yeah, I don't know why. It's like coming and going, like the signal, everything's fine on my end. And then all of a sudden I start hearing everything sounds like it's in a tin can underwater for a few seconds. So
I don't know.
I hope I'm coming through okay.
Here,
yes, right? Thumbs up.
Yeah, everything on our end sounds good for you. So it must be something with your internet. If you need to restart your internet or something, or kick the kids off of Halo or whatever, you could do that.
No, I'm doing what I always do. I'm running off of my own phone's Wi-Fi. So
good.
I do that to make sure that there is no interference. So my feeling would be that it's maybe something on the station's end, but I don't know. We'll see. Talk to me, Goose. Let me see if I can hear it.
All right. Well, I'm chatting away. Outlaw Radio, K-Dog, and St. Paul. Just like the old days when it was just me and you. Tom is in SoCal, getting ready to fly home. That little bastard went down to the Seahawks game, watched the Seahawks lose to the Rams, and then did not do a Nancy Kerrigan, did not run out on the field and attack somebody with a baton and hurt their leg. No, he just let the Seahawks lose. I totally blame Tom. Lori is feeling under the weather, as is Dennis. We could make jokes about that, but we're not going to. And then Andy is, I believe, dog sitting, but she's in the chat. So, it's going to be me and Paul. And Paul's froze, so I don't think Paul's there right now. Paul? And there he is. Oh, now he's moving. There, Paul, can you hear us?
I don't think it's on our end because I still see it, and I'm on.
Yeah, I can hear.
Are you there, Paul?
Yeah, I'm here. Like I said, I don't know what it is. Everything else is coming through fine on this end, but
okay, we'll play it by ear. We'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I'll kick you off. And I'll do 3 hours by myself because really nobody wants to hear anything besides my voice for the next 3 hours. Trust me.
I just queued up the song just to celebrate you guys.
Oh, did you? Go ahead.
Imagine me and you. I do. I think about you day and night.
Paul, we're so happy together. Tonight's segment brought to you by Paul's Septic Swell.
I better not play that too much because the Beatles are blockers.
Yeah, and you know what'll happen? Facebook will catch us, and everybody else will catch us too. So.
And then we'll still be on Rumble.
All right. So, what's going on in the life of Paul before we get into topics, buddy? Anything going on?
There's not a lot really going on over here other than having kids while in the middle of a live radio show tap me on the back. Anyway, so the point is, don't let your children interrupt your job, folks. Otherwise, it's worth a good ass whooping. Yes, you heard me correctly. I will whoop my kid's ass if he touches me again or interrupts me. I mean that in the nicest possible way.
This
Dumbass.
segment on corporal
All right,
punishment is brought to you by.
Anyway, yeah, this is weird. I was hearing Phil just fine when we started, and you're coming in and out. Nobody else is on my Wi-Fi on my phone, and I'm not streaming anything. So there may be something going on with the cell towers. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is the second time, I think, in as many months that this has happened where there just seems to be some weird interference. And I don't know which end that it's on. So
I don't either. I don't either.
Yeah.
Everything we're getting from the Facebook or from the live streams is the signal's fine. So do you want to?
Oh, yeah, mine says mine's fine. So I don't think that's the indicator.
Okay.
I'll reboot it again.
Do you want to reboot everything? All right. Why don't you do that? Why don't you reboot again and then join us
I'll
back?
I'll reboot it again.
Okay. I'll see you at 8:30.
All right. Well,
all right. Goodbye. Well, just so that I'll carry the show for 15 minutes, but it'll be really awkward if I try to bring you right back in the middle of me filling. You know. All right, there he goes. There goes Paul. All right, Robert picked out that Nancy Kerrigan was a victim. Tanya Harding was the perp. You're getting old. Kevin, history's fading for you. No, I know. I told him to pull a Nancy Kerrigan. I told him to go down there with and Jeff Gillooly somebody. Remember Jeff Gillooly, Robert? Yeah, Jeff Gillooly was the one that actually hit Nancy Kerrigan with the baton. So Harding wasn't even the perp. Harding was the person that arranged for the perp to attack Nancy Kerrigan with the baton. Pay attention, damn it. All right. Hey, listen, I wanted to, since Paul's rebooting, we're going to bring him back on in a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about the big news that came out a couple of days ago. And we're going to keep it local, right? So over the last couple of weeks, what have we learned? We learned that Senator Derek Kilmer is not going to run for re-election. I'm still really curious to know why. Because it's rare for someone that is entrenched in their position, making that kind of money, having that kind of influence, getting that kind of donations, all of that stuff. It's rare that someone just says, I think I'm done. I don't think I'm going to run anymore. I mean, it's not rare if they're older or they feel like their seat is in trouble, but there's nothing really to indicate that. I mean, who was it? Elizabeth Kresselmeyer is going to run for that seat again on the Republican side. And he'd already beaten her really handily, right? And let's be honest, the chances of Elizabeth Kresselmeyer, who we've had in studio, I've interviewed her, we've talked to her, but I said this before after we interviewed her, she got a really big hill to climb. If she's going to get within Christ, 15 points of Kilmer. I mean, I think it was 60-30 or something, 68-22 or just some huge blowout for Kilmer. And listen, before you all get upset, this is not a God, I love Kilmer, God, I hate Kresselmeyer thing. This is when you're an incumbent and you're entrenched, regardless of your party, regardless of your politics, regardless of your processes, it's really hard to unseat you, especially when you're running by 30, 35 points every 2 years when you come up for re-election. Boy, that's a really, really big road to hoe. So for Derek Kilmer to decide, I'm done. He's relatively young for politics. I mean, Norm Dix held that seat for over 30 years. It seems funky to me. Maybe J. Kennedy said, where the F is Tom? Tom is on a flight back from SoCal after watching the Seahawks lose, and it's all his fault. It's really weird that he would bow out, but maybe again, I'm not questioning him. I'm just really curious. Maybe it is about the fact he's got a young family. Maybe it is, he feels like he's done everything he can do. I don't know. We'll see. But Emily Randall has announced that she's running. And I know that, we've got other people that are running as well. Robert mentioned that, where did it go? Senator Drew McEwen's going to run. That's true. Other names are going to throw themselves out there, but just on its face, Emily Randall's the heir apparent. No, I don't say that because I really like Emily Randall, because I don't. I don't say that because I like her policies, because I don't. I don't say it because I think she's a likable person, because I don't. But she's a Democrat, and the Democrats consistently hold that seat. 30 plus years for Norm Dix, and however many terms that Kilmer got. Robert said it was 60.9. So 60-40. Okay. All right. Or 61, almost 61, 39, whatever. Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought it was more of a blowout than that, but I'll believe anything that Robert says. In regard to those numbers, Hillary Franz has announced that did she announce she's going to run, or did she announce that she's considering running? Did she finalize her running? I get it that other people are going to run, but here's what we know. We know that the Democrat Party in the state of Washington loves Emily Randall. They just flat love her. I don't know why. I don't know why they've hitched their pony to that wagon, but they have. They believe Emily Randall is the second coming. I don't get it, but they do. They're going to back her. I don't care who else runs. They're going to back her hard. And in a seat where Democrats have held it forever, and she seems to be the darling of the Democrat Party, I just can't. I cannot for the life of me believe that she doesn't get it. Now, Hillary Franz is a Democrat. Robert said she's announced. Okay, cool. But I don't think Hillary Franz is gonna wow up the Democrat Party and motivate young voters like Emily Randall. I don't think Hillary Franz is gonna get the fringe voters out like Emily Randall. I don't think Hillary Franz is she's not dynamic enough. And I don't mean as a candidate, I don't mean as a person, but from an electoral standpoint, she just doesn't have the same pop that Emily Randall has for some reason. For some godforsaken, unbelievable reason, there's Hillary Franz right there. Stronger communities, a thriving economy, and a better future for everyone.
Endorsed by Derek Kilmer.
She can be endorsed by Derek Kilmer and Norm Dix.
Our very own Mayor Wheeler.
Oh well, that just
pushes it over. Yeah.
That Mayor Humdinger has been right. Yes, Hillary Franz. Listen, I'm not knocking Hillary Franz at all. But for whatever reason, the Democrat Party has fallen in love with Emily Randall. For some reason, they think that she's the second coming. They think she's the future of politics in this state. And if she is, we're all screwed. But I don't think Hillary Franz is going to have overall appeal like Emily Randall. I don't think Hillary Franz is going to draw out young voters like Emily Randall. I just don't think so. And again, I would love for anybody besides Emily Randall to be the Democratic Party nominee. I'd settle for Philip to be the nominee before Emily Randall. I'd love it if a Republican took the seat. Not because I really care, but just because, God, that'd be shocking. Like, I'm all for the Hail Mary play in the fourth quarter that wins the game when the no-name team with the backup quarterback suddenly shows up and wins the ball game. Like, I'm all about that. Just for that reason, I'd love to see a Republican win the seat, just because people would crap themselves for 2 years how that happened. But it ain't going to happen in the seat. The 6th district has religiously gone Democrat. We've talked on this show about how the north end of Kitsap is religiously Democrat. The 6th district is religiously Democrat. It would take Moses and the tablets. It'd take Noah and the ark. It'd take Lot's wife turning to sand. It was Lot's wife that turned to sand,
Salt.
right? Or salt. Sorry, thank you, salt. Listen, at least I got a vague Bible reference. But turn off your mic. But there's no way that Emily Randall doesn't get the nomination. And there's no way she doesn't win. No way at all. It's impossible. Just impossible. Not in this state. Hillary Franz would probably do better in a different state that appreciated a little more moderate Democrats. This state is buck naked for progressive Democrats. Who do we got, Phil?
We got the one, the only Rick Eckert.
Hey, Rick's calling. What's up, Rick? Are you wearing your Outlaw Radio Network swag as you call in?
No, I didn't. I just did that on special occasion.
Rick, listen. This is radio. Nobody can see you. Let's try this again. Rick, are you wearing your Outlaw Radio Network swag as you call
awesome.
in? Exactly. Thank you.
You saw the picture I sent in, right?
I did see the picture, man. That's great. Who was that in the picture with you that you sent? Was that your son?
That was my son, Logan.
Outstanding. Now we got to get Logan some Outlaw swag to wear to school.
He has been religiously telling me to watch on Sunday nights. He heard your shout out.
Oh, outstanding. Well, you're more than welcome to bring him in studio with you sometime if you want to. You can bring him down with you.
Well, I don't know. That was a pretty late night. He'd be pretty miserable the next day.
Well, I mean, if there's a Monday off the next day, federal holiday, anything like that, just whatever, just let me know. What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, you'd want me to call in about the campaign issues, but I was going to say, you need to look at the results of this election because I think the North End was going as progressive as you say, but this election seems to have turned that around a little bit. You know, I'm still 90 votes up in my election, and doing the math, it's pretty much over. The other city council race, same boat. And both of those candidates were heavily partisan endorsed by the Democrats, and polls vote for all, and a lot of progressive causes. The most progressive North Kitsap school board race or candidate, she was losing by over 500 votes. So I think there's a little swing.
So okay, so let me give you my initial counter to that. You can tell me if you think I'm wrong.
Okay.
In the city of Paulsville, maybe there is. But on the North End, when you're voting for statewide or federal-wide candidates, and you include in the numbers of the people who are going to be voting from Bainbridge, then any sway that Paulsville is going to give you is gone. So the North End candidates, the Tara Simmons and they're going to win in their sleep.
Well, that's why I sent you the link to the website for Hillary, because if you look at her endorsement, she's got Christine Rolfes.
Yep.
She's got the Central Kitsap County Commissioner. I mean, that's 2/3 for Kitsap right there when it comes to swaying things.
Yeah.
She's got Derek. She's got Norm Diggs. So she's got a lot of pretty important names on that list. They're pulling for her.
Listen, I hope you're right, man.
North End.
I hope you're right.
North right there.
I hope you're right. The problem is, Emily Randall never should have won state senate in the first place.
Yeah, see, I don't know Emily much or well because she's outside the 23rd, so I haven't paid a lot of attention. And any legislative work that I've done in the past was always focused on the 23rd. It was always to talk to Representative Simmons, Representative Hanson, Senator Walfus. So I've met her in passing, but I've never really worked with her and, reached out to her at all. So.
Okay. We're talking with Rick Eckert, by the way, who's soon to be welcomed onto the Paulsbo School District.
No, City Council.
Oh, sorry, Paulsbo City Council. Sorry. Right. It's been a long weekend.
Yep.
A lot of drinking.
First week in January.
A lot of drinking.
First week in January, that will be the swear in for the new, or in Britt's case, for the new council members.
Is your election certified yet?
No, none of them are certified till the 27th, but they did a ballot drop Friday, which was 2 days worth of counting, and there were only 10 new votes added. And I looked on the state Secretary of State's website, and it says that Kitsap County has no votes waiting to be counted. So the city's got 40% turnout this time. So in a non-presidential race, 40% turnout, that's sadly pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're at the point now where they're only adding barely double digits, I don't think it's going to change.
Well, congratulations.
I can't see how.
I think it's cool. We talk a lot about the big races on this show, right? But the little races like yours are the ones that really have an impact on the people sitting at home, and there's not much pop for you to run for a city council race. You're not going to get rich off of it.
Right.
You're not going to get a whole bunch of endorsement deals off of it. You're not going to get a lot of travel out of it. I mean, the idea for you to travel is to go down to City Hall.
Right.
It's a thankless job, and yet you're doing it, which I think is really cool, buddy. And I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
I just came back from my once-a-year trip for school board, which was to go to Bellevue, for 3 days and go to the school director conference. That's the big school board trip. And, it's stay in a hotel for 2 days and sit and hear, go to sessions and hear people talk about educational things. And yeah, that's pretty much the big thing for school board members. So yeah, I don't see city council being too much more.
Well,
maybe go to Olympia.
I'm excited. And you know what? I'm really hoping that we can keep bringing you on once you take tenure, just to kind of talk about the process. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And that's you just got to, talk about how it changed. But I know you're on the show by yourself, guys. But
all right, Rick, rubber gets break, man. Call anytime you want, ever.
Okay.
All right, there goes Rick
No
Eckert,
problem.
Outlaw Radio. We're back after this. This is Mega Talk.
All right.
Outlaw Radio. All right, so I was making some faces when Rick was talking. I just want to be clear what that was about in case people saw it on camera. Philip yawned and had his microphone on. And I was trying to tell Philip that his microphone was on when he yawned so nobody could hear him yawn. And then after I did it, I realized, crap, someone watching the feed is going to be like, why is Kevin making funny faces when Rick is talking? Is Kevin mocking Rick? And I'm not mocking Rick at all. I'm mocking Philip, who yawns with the microphone on. Stop doing that.
And I thought you were looking at me like, where's Paul?
No. I was like, why are you yawning in the microphone with your microphone
I got
on?
a totally different vibe.
Why would you do that? No, I meant what I said. Listen, Rick's story's cool, right? Because you're talking about a guy who is just serving at a really, really basic local level, right? School district, city council, really basic stuff. I just think it's cool. I would never run for office, by the way, because I don't have the temperament for it. I would totally go Stone Cold Steve Austin at a city council meeting. I'd start talking about myself in the third person.
Kevin could start selling tickets.
Yeah. I'd be like, finally. Anyway, all right. So Paul is still working on some of his tech issues, so we'll get him on here in a wee little bit. Once we get that figured out. In the meantime, we're going to come back. I'm gonna opine a little bit still more on this race when we come back on the AM side, and then I'm going to ask the listeners a question and Philip a question and Paul if he's with us. If Emily Randall's going to run for federal office, should she be required to leave her seat for state office? We'll talk about that next. It's Outlaw Radio. Outlaw Radio. A lot of comments in the chat, by the way, about Paul's Vote for All. Not endearing themselves to the listenership base at all. I will tell you, I have reached out to Paul's Vote for All's leadership, if you want to call them that, and invited them to come on the show, and then I get blocked. So it is it's interesting.
You could send an undercover person to find out.
Are you volunteering?
No, I was just thinking if you knew any teenage girls.
Teenage girls. I don't really know any teenage girls besides my own daughters, and I would not subject them to the hate fest that is Paul's Vote for All. If you don't know what we're talking about, let's say you live somewhere. Let's say you live in Gig Harbor, and you're listening to the show, and you're like, "Well, who is this Paul's Vote for All that we hear about?" Paul's Vote for All is a Facebook group that is run by probably some of the biggest left-wing lunatic whack job bigots I've ever met in my life. And if you're in their Facebook group and you even question them about why they believe something, they just block you and then mock you and talk smack about you. But they've been really involved in promoting candidates and issues up on the North End. And they just had their asses handed to them in the city council races. Now, I'm not sure about the school board race. I think the school board races, I don't know. I'll have to look. Robert's in the chat. He'll let us know.
Yeah, I know they were talking about that friend of mine is losing by 500, which I think is a good political thing.
Yeah. Do you?
politically, yeah.
Okay. All right.
She's still my friend.
So
I'm still,
yeah,
be kind to her.
But you're not sad she lost? No? All right, I hope your friend's not listening to the show. So I wanted to talk really quick about this thing with Emily Randall. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a history lesson, okay? And as I talk about this, I'm going to talk about two people that she ran against who I have really high regard for. So keep that in mind as I say this, okay? When she ran the first time and she won, she ran against Marty McClendon in what was a very close race for the Senate race. Now, I really like Marty for a number of reasons, including the fact that Marty's a radio guy. Like, we had some great conversations about radio and broadcasting and all of that. Like, Marty's a radio guy, likable guy. Marty is the kind of guy that I would have over to my house on a Sunday afternoon to barbecue. Just a good guy, and was running a really smart campaign. But from a lot of sources that I heard from, he also took a vacation 2 weeks before the election. And a lot of people credit that with why he lost. He wasn't out knocking on doors. He wasn't out shaking hands. He was not out doing the campaigning thing. He was on vacation. Now, I assume that's true because I've heard it from multiple people. And I don't have an issue with him taking a vacation. And maybe he was really confident that he was going to win. Maybe he was really confident he was going to lose. Maybe he didn't see a point in campaigning over that time that he was out. I don't know. But a lot of people that are in the know, especially the Republican Party, have told me that's why he lost. He took his eyes off the prize, left the campaign trail, went on vacation. Then she ran against Jesse Young. Now, if you've listened to this show for any length of time, you know what I think of Jesse Young. I don't agree with him politically on everything, but the dude's a stand-up guy who has massive amounts of integrity, who's honest as all get out and very direct. And that's the problem. He's very direct. He will turn people off. He will say what needs to be said. He does not worry about hurting people's feelings. And that's it. That can be an issue, right? Now, again, I love Jesse. I voted for Jesse in that race. And I would pretty much vote for Jesse in anything Jesse ran for, and I'm not a Republican. But in this era of gentler, kinder, softer, we need to make you guys feel important politics, Jesse wasn't that guy. Jesse's not going to coddle you. In both of those elections, Emily had an opponent who was flawed in that race. Not that Jesse's flawed as a politician. I love Jesse. But in that race, he was flawed because he's a little abrasive sometimes. Marty was flawed because he took a vacation at the wrong time. Against a little stronger, less flawed candidate. And again, I'm not insulting either one of them. I love them both. But in that race, she had an advantage. She also has a marketing advantage. Philip?
I was going to say, too, in that first race, didn't Jan Angel kind of look like she was running and then not run? So Marty McClendon didn't have a lot of time.
I think you're right. I think Jan kind of announced towards the last minutes of filing. Yeah. She also has a marketing advantage. And I'm going to say something that most people on social media won't say, that most people in mainstream media won't say. I'm probably going to piss some people off. I don't really care. She's a lesbian. I don't have an issue with it. But it certainly plays to optics. It certainly plays to optics. She's a woman. It plays to optics. In the Democratic Party, that stuff goes a long way. You're a woman and a lesbian, and you're coming back from the oppressed, whatever, men who oppress you, Republicans who oppress you, the government who oppresses you. You didn't get all your rights until blah, 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 right? It plays well. It matters to voters. Now, a lot of you in the chat are going to be like, no, it's not true. It's not. It is important to voters. If you doubt me, look at the results from the election earlier this month. When Democrats across the country made progress. Why? Because of abortion. These social issues matter to Democrat voters. They motivate people to vote. Marty McClendon and Jesse Young didn't motivate people to vote. Not to the same levels that we saw Emily Randall. And Emily won the race. And think of the dichotomy of the 26. Spencer, what's Spencer's last name? Spencer, oh God bless it.
Hutchins?
Spencer Hutchins, thank you. Spencer Hutchins, Republican, won Jesse's old seat. Michelle Caldier, Republican, won her seat in the 26th. There are 3 seats, 2 state rep seats, 1 state senator seat. Republicans won both of them, although Spencer's was really close. Republicans won 2 of them. Emily Randall won the 3rd. Against a guy that had done nothing but win in the 26th as a state rep before he ran for Senate, and Jesse Young. It matters. The social issues matter. Now, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to shape up the Republican nomination. There is a Republican that's announced that they're going to run. There's another one I think that's going to run, and you're going to have Hillary Francis, the Dem, going up against Emily. I get all of that. But for the love of all things holy, please don't underestimate Emily Randall ever again. Because she just continues to find ways to beat people that she shouldn't be beating. Paul, are you on with us? Can you hear me? Are you joining me?
I can hear you.
Combo?
Yeah,
Oh, good.
yeah. I had to hear your hurtful words. Listen,
Hurtful
you
words
give
about
Emily
what?
Randall way too much credit. She is, God help us, one of the absolute dumbest people in politics I have ever listened to.
Wow.
How
did I give her credit? Wait. How did I give her credit?
You never underestimate her. It ain't her, partner. It ain't her. Listen, have you ever worked fast food, Kevin?
Oh yeah. McDonald's, Subway, Burger
Okay.
King, KFC
Right.
for a day.
So in the back, in the kitchen, right? What happens there on the floor? It gets really nasty and greasy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the time.
Right. So you wear special shoes. The floors are a special kind of flooring, But most importantly, when you get this grease all over the floor to keep people from slipping, you use what Jesse Young did to her in their one and only debate, and that's you mop that crap up. She had about as much substance as a dog with diarrhea. I got a bitch in heat right now that's got more substance than Emily Randall had in that debate. Emily Randall could not debate her way out of a paper bag, and that's me being polite. And if it takes Jesse Young coming out as a gay lesbian woman in how he identifies, or anybody else for that matter, please do it. This woman does not belong in politics. She is one thing and one thing only. She's an identity politic player, and that is it. That is the only thing that she brought to the table, okay? If you vote for her, please do not procreate. Do not wish that hell upon people in this country, let alone this state. You're too stupid to have children. That woman belongs nowhere near a legislature of any type, except maybe port commissioner. Sorry, Ben. This is the only politician, air quotes, that put forth a bill who went tinkle so she wouldn't have to vote on it and have her thoughts become a member of the public record. Are you kidding me? And then whose excuse was, my female biological needs are none of your business. That's the best answer you got? People that had more respect for you if you'd have just said, yeah, I didn't want to go on the record, man, after putting forth that bill. Oh, at least you're honest. You're welcome to give her whatever acumen you want, Kevin, but please, brother, do not go down the road of the morons who give her credit for anything of which she deserves it all. Okay.
Well, you may have missed
nothing.
You may have missed it, but let me say this again. I haven't given her any credit, really. I noted. I mentioned that Marty McClendon took a vacation 2 weeks before the election that a lot of people credited as the reason why he lost. And I mentioned that in this new era of touchy-feely, make me feel good about things politics, Jesse Young's got a little bit of abrasion to him. I think we need that, but a lot of people didn't. And in a
I don't think
district
that
where
has anything to do with why he. There's no
You don't
data
think
to
so?
support that. That's why he lost. I'm saying
You don't
there's
think
no
so?
data to
Okay.
support that.
Okay. No, I'm
Plus,
just totally
that
giving my
wasn't
opinion.
that. If of course you are, and you are 1,000% entitled to it. I'm just saying there's no. I saw no evidence to support that. It wasn't even really a campaign issue. It was made by a political action committee on her behalf once, I think, and it amounted to her intellect, nothing. So I listen. I'm not actually disagreeing with you about any of that. I think you are correct when you say never underestimate Emily Randall. But could we rephrase that? Never underestimate the adults who prop her up and support her. We're talking like little skinny sticks you put next to your tomato plants so the fruit doesn't lay on the ground. Okay, that I could not be more disrespectful because that is a campaign that doesn't deserve any respect. She came on air with us for 20 minutes because 30 was too long, and literally got caught lying 4 times. 4 times, and unfortunately, Kevin, she was lying so frequently you weren't able to fact check her while she was doing it.
Yeah.
Now that's not on you, that's on her. And again, to point out, because Emily Randall clearly got it wrong, when you asked her about ghost bills and she laid it at the feet of Republicans, talking about how they did it too, just to remind our listeners, Republicans haven't controlled either body of the House in the state of Washington since 1988, which I think might have been before Emily Randall was born.
All right, hold that thought. Hold on. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. On Facebook, we'll check out some of your comments and chats. Stick around. It's Outlaw Radio.
Septic Squilt, buy one, get one free.
This is State Representative Jesse Young, and you're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network.
I absolutely love that you played that, but we can't play it anymore because he's not the state representative anymore.
I was going to say, except that it's a little out of date.
I absolutely.
It was true when it was recorded.
I absolutely love Jesse Young. I really do. I mean, I love the guy. I don't agree with everything politically, but I don't have to.
Sorry, wrong button, Paul. My apologies.
Yeah. But look, Paul, jump in Jehoshaphat, man. Listen, you've got to take into context what I said, which is do not underestimate. Yeah, I know you didn't actually. Otherwise, you wouldn't be picking a fight with me about it, you douche.
I'm not picking a fight with you about it. Don't be passive aggressive, you putz.
Do not underestimate Emily Randall because she should have lost. Why are you smoking on air? What are you, Snoop Dogg?
No. It's just a vape pen.
It's smoking on air. Children do not mimic Paul.
It's water vapor.
Listen, it is. She should have lost to McClendon. She should have lost to Young. She didn't. The times of us assuming that she's the weaker candidate against somebody else who's running is gone. We now need to accept the fact that she's a force, right or wrong, whether it be her or the people propping her up.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
What?
Oh, everything was working fine, and all of a sudden, boom, there it goes back to just poof out of nowhere.
Yeah, your internet
sounded like I'm in a fucking tin can.
Because everything here is perfect.
No, it's not. If it was whacked, then I wouldn't have any fucking problem every other week when I'm logging in, would I?
You're so mad. I love when you're angry. All right.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
All right, we're coming back on AM. Hold that thought.
Something about listening.
Outlaw Radio.
Listening to you singing Emily Randall's
Shut up, Paul. We're back after this. Shut up.
Vote for Emily. She's angelic.
Outlaw Radio. By the way, the views expressed by Paul are just Paul's and do not reflect the views of anybody else with a brain, opinion on politics. Yeah. All right, Paul. We have a phone call. Who's our caller?
We have Justin.
Well, let's bring Justin on.
The one, the only, the legend.
I don't know if Justin follows the North End like that, but let's find out. Justin, or actually, he's in the 26th, I think. Justin, what's on your mind, buddy?
Well, I just caught, I don't know about half the ad hominem attack on Emily Randall from Paul, which was quite disgusting. You know, you could just basically
goddamn truth.
Take her at her stated value. Take her at her stated value of what she says, that she went to the bathroom because she had things to do. Why does it have to be an issue? You know, just respect her. She's a fellow human.
She did not.
Oh, hold on. Justin, let me ask you a question.
There's no reason to liken her to dogs.
Okay.
That's disgusting. That is so disrespectful, Paul. I'm so deeply, just like, my respect for you is just gone. I'm sorry. Bye.
Yeah, I don't care.
No, he just hung up. No. Well, don't hang up the phone. It gives that weird noise. Okay. So I'm not going to touch the dog comment. I didn't say that. I'll let Paul do that. I will say this, though. When the argument is, when Justin first opened with, well, she went to the bathroom because she had to go to the bathroom. I want to explain, because I don't know if he's ever been there, and I've been there. I had the honor of being a guest of Michelle Caldeers in the legislative area where they do their votes and they held session and all of that, right? Things do not happen without people knowing what's going to happen. Okay? When a bill's about to come up for a vote, people know. And Emily Randall sponsored the bill. There was no way she didn't know. So the idea that she somehow had to tinkle, and it just happened to be at the time that her bill was going to be presented for a floor vote, and she had to tinkle, and that's why she missed it, is ludicrous. It is insane. Now, I understand that she is of the same political persuasion as Justin. They're both Democrats. Okay, that's fine. But let's call a spade, right? Let's acknowledge it for what it is. Emily Randall did not want to vote on her own bill because she could have tinkled before. She could have tinkled after. She could have had a milk jug under her desk and tinkled in the milk jug like we used to do on family road trips. But there's no way in God's green earth that she magically had a bladder attack in the middle of her own bill. I don't believe it for a second. It's impossible. Paul?
And you shouldn't believe it for 1 second. Listen, and I don't have anything to say to Justin other than he's instinctively defending somebody who is tipped over on the same side of the aisle as him, right? So, but that's first. Listen, second, I don't do this show
do you
for
think
anybody
he
to
would be
respect
so?
me,
Do
and I never have.
Do you think he'd be so forgiving if it had been Jesse Young that had proposed a bill and then
not
had to
even remotely
and missed the
close,
vote? I don't think it would be either. But that's just me. But go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry to mean.
No, it was no, it's okay. It was a bill she took a lot of flack over, and she clearly did not want her position on her own bill a matter of public record. She literally cowered out. And listen, I would say this. I still have the video footage on my phone from their debate. Justin wasn't there. I was. And she had the floor mopped with her entrails. There was nothing left of her by the time. She fled that room in about 5 minutes when that debate was over.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Terrible. It showed her complete lack of intellectual capacity. It was that bad.
Hold on,
so
let me ask you a question.
If you don't respect me for calling out go ahead.
How much credit do you give? How much credence do you give in debates? I mean, as far as a candidate goes, right? Like, could a good candidate and a good politician and a good elected representative completely just bomb in debates because it's not their strong suit? Or do you think debate performance is a key indicator of how they're going to be when they get into office?
It is my opinion that debate performance is amazingly indicative of your capacity to be a lawmaker. If you are great on stage, that means you know the issues, you know the facts, and you are comfortable in your own skin, and you are comfortable with the positions you take on those issues.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair.
percent
I
comfortable.
didn't know if there was an answer to that. I just wanted to ask. Who's the caller?
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna log back in. I'm losing you guys.
Okay. All right. Who's the caller?
We have the other legendary Robert Parker.
Oh, Robert Parker's calling. All right. I was afraid it was Justin because I was going to let Justin back on the show.
Oh no. Well, I was going to set the record actually straight.
Yes, set the record
and know
straight.
that I have, and know that I have the actual documents to back up everything I'm saying.
Okay.
That was Emily Randall's bill. When that went to the floor, she left the floor. She was officially given an unexcused absence.
Mm-hmm.
Her whole bathroom thing is garbage.
Yeah.
If she was in the building and she so desired, she could have had her vote cast on her behalf by another member on the floor. All she has to do is direct that to happen.
Yeah.
She chose not to and to not go on the record.
Yep.
And that's important. And I actually have the Senate recorded vote that shows her as unexcused absence on that floor. And when that bill was done, she returned to the floor.
Yeah.
That's what actually happened.
Yeah. I forgot about that too, by the way, that she could have had another representative cast the vote for her if she really had to tinkle that bad. And I listen.
No, that's all garbage.
Yeah. And listen, Robert, I absolutely hate that. I hate the fact that politics has gotten so blind that a Democrat can't be like, I mean, look, I support Emily, but even that was a harebrained cockamamie stunt to pull. You know what I mean? Like, they can't even say that what she did was wrong. They just make up excuse. Like, Justin, oh, she had to pee. Okay, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, there are two reasons that I fire off on Emily Randall. It's not because she's a progressive Democrat.
What are the two reasons?
I fire off on Emily Randall over a post she made that said she would not support Bernie Sanders or any other white dude. I'm an old white dude.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was racist and it was sexist. And that means she won't represent me. The other one was she said any bill that she sponsors or supports will go through the LGBTQ lens first, which means the other 90% of us, she doesn't care about. That means Emily Randall is done with me. She will never get my support. I mean, she couldn't pay me for support. And that's why. She's racist, she's sexist, and she doesn't support this district or me.
Yeah.
Why she gets returned, she gets lots of outside money. She gets lots of outside support. And she fits the model. And if we're not careful, if Emily Randall doesn't make it to Congress, she's going to be the next Speaker of the House or the Speaker of the Senate.
Yeah.
Because they're grooming her for leadership, period.
So
she's got the pedigree, and that's what they're trying to do.
Do you agree with what I said before? That she is the heir apparent? I mean, listen, Hillary France may be a great candidate, a great person, a great whatever, but for whatever reason, the Democratic Party in the state of Washington has just decided to glom on to Emily Randall as the heir apparent.
No, the media has decided that. In the Kitsap Sun.
Oh, wait, Robert.
The Seattle Times.
Robert Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks.
What do you mean?
The marching orders come from Democrat leadership, not the other way around. The media is going off of what Democrat leadership says, not the other way around. If Democrat leadership didn't want the media to prop up Emily Randall, they wouldn't do it. They prop up who the Democrat leadership tells them to prop up.
Who was the first one out? First article out on her announcing was The Stranger.
Right.
Who was the second one out? Seattle Times. Who coined right in with almost the exact same article, the Kitsap Sun.
Yeah. But
they did. When you look at those articles, they mentioned Hillary France in less than a sentence, and only one of them mentioned Drew McEwen.
Yeah,
was even running.
But that's my point, Robert. I don't think the media shapes this narrative. Like, I think the media is regurgitating the narrative that's coming from the Democrat leadership. And the Democrat leadership says, oh, crap,
I would partially agree with that.
Emily Randall wants to run. So that's who we're going to throw our weight behind. So why don't you guys make your phone calls to the editors at the Seattle Times and call David Nelson over the Kitsap Sun and send your little emails and stuff. And then the media regurgitates what the mainstream media tells them to do.
Yes, and then you've also got other people that are in exploratory right now. You've got one up in Jefferson County that's county commissioner. We're just identifying that person now, and we have another local one here that is exploring.
Ooh, do you want to share who that is? Can you tell us who that is?
Yeah, you know his name. Try Chad Enright.
Oh, all right.
He's the one running underneath the radar right now. We'll find out in the next week or 10 days if he's actually serious or not. But yeah, you may see Chad raise his head.
Well,
but I wouldn't count Hillary out, because Hillary right now, because Emily is starting off at ground zero with very little money. Hillary's got $300,000 with contacting her donors. She can move that from the governor's race to the Congress race, and she starts out $300,000 ahead.
Yeah.
She also has a bigger donor pool, and she's used to having a bigger donor pool. And she's in higher crowds of that donor pool. So to count Franz out, I think, is a mistake. But Emily I agree with you that Emily is the darling in the race. But that doesn't mean that she's going to be able to outspend Franz, and it's going to be an expensive race. But don't count out Drew McEwen either. Drew's no dummy.
No, this isn't. Listen, but Drew's a Republican, right? I always get confused with him and somebody else. Listen, I'm not. I'll never discount
He's in
Drew.
the 35th.
Yeah, I would never discount Drew. But here's the problem: that 6th congressional race has been a Democrat stronghold for more than 40 years.
Well, I would say that Norm Dix was a different kind of Democrat than what we have nowadays.
No, I agree. I agree with that completely.
Norm was as Republican as you could get and still be a Democrat. And, I wasn't opposed to Norm. Norm got stuff done. Name one thing that Derek Kilmer has gotten done in his entire tenure in Congress.
A lot of sucking up.
Wait a minute. He did do something. He modernized, he created a report that they did nothing with for a task force to modernize Congress. Seen any of that happen? That's his big accomplishment for the whole time we've paid it.
All right, Robert, we're going top of the hour news, man. Call back later. I love you.
All right, buddy.
In an appropriate way, I promise. Outlaw Radio.
Yep. Bye.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network.
All right, Outlaw Radio. So Justin said, in response to what Robert said, she's not disregarding you or your opinion by stating that as a rep. I disagree. And here's why. Okay. If she says, I'll never support an old white guy, isn't that in and of itself an ageist, racist statement? If I said, I will not support a young black woman, that's an ageist and a racist statement, because it's based on not their qualifications or their candidacy. It's based on their age and their race. I'm sorry, but that's exactly what it is. And I know that people on the left want to act like, well, you can do this if you're this, but not if if you're a white dude, you can't do this. But if you're a minority woman, knock yourself out. You're allowed because of all the oppression you've ever faced or whatever. I don't agree with it. Okay. I agree with Robert on that. When she says that she's going to put everything through the lens of the LGBTQ first, I think I understand the nuanced whatever she was trying to say, but the LGBTQ population is 7%. Wouldn't it make more sense for her to have a nuanced approach? Why is it only LGBTQ? Okay, if you're going to look at it through the lenses of how it impacts minorities, why are you not worried about African Americans or Hispanic Americans or Asian Americans or Native Americans? Why is it only sexuality that matters in what you're looking at through everything first? How does that even make any sense? Like, I get what she's saying. I want to make sure that what we pass does not negatively impact the LGBTQ community because they've been oppressed. I think that's what she's trying to say. But when you lead with, I'm looking at it first, I won't support an old white dude. But if I said I won't support a young lesbian, I'd be castrated as sexist and elitist and genderphobic or whatever other cool terms you want to put into it. Listen, hate's bad, regardless. I don't care how you market it, how you sell it, what you dress it up as, what kind of makeup you put on and a push-up bra. I don't care. Hate is hate is hate. The left does not have an exclusion from hate, and the right does not have a monopoly on it. And the sooner people on the left realize that, the better off you'll be. But you're not going to get it. The left is the home of victim stance. Everybody's a victim. Except for white guys. White men can't be victims, and yet it happens every day in our court structure. But white men can't be victims. But it happens every day if you're porn in court. White men can't be victims. But they do get shot by armed police officers in questionable shootings. But nobody seems to care. But a young black man gets killed and everybody's in an outrage. The race shouldn't matter. The overuse of power should. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And I find it funny that the left, who is so bent on civil rights, protecting people's freedoms, sticking up for the oppressed, standing up to the man to make sure that people are afforded all of their equal rights under the Constitution, only seem to care about doing it when it's a woman or a minority. Injustice somewhere is injustice everywhere. That's the fact. That's the way it is.
That's a fact, Jack.
Oh, there's Paul. Hey, Paul.
So I tried something a little different this time. I dropped the camera. So hopefully
Justin said, I'm going to say this. I'm going to read it since we're on Facebook.
Yeah,
the left
go
is
ahead.
about critique of the system, fucking moron. That's what you have left to come back with, Justin, is to name call me. That's your fucking contribution. I wasn't going to swear. That's your contribution to the show. You're going to name call. Because I didn't say anything negative about you at all. I said that you were a Democrat and sided with Dems, and I didn't give a misstatement. I didn't give a poor fact. But you want a name call. That's what's wrong with your cause. Outlaw Radio. Going on AM now.
.com.
Somewhere out there is a villain with the potential to serve greatness. Let's hear it for Kevin. He saved his tribe.
Glorious. No, I won't give in. I won't give in till I'm victorious.
There you go.
Outlaw Radio. All right.
Oh, for all that is holy.
Are you watching the
Like,
Paul?
hey, whatever happens, Kevin, do not come to a complete stop. Phil might fly up your ass.
Hey, what do you know what? Here's the deal. One of us is in studio tonight.
That's what the
everyone else is not.
That's what the spit-proof glass is for.
Yeah.
So
sure,
Justin said I
sure.
called him a name, but he hasn't told what name I called him. I'm still waiting to find out. Justin said I lie when I say the left is about victimhood and all that nonsense. First of all, it's not a lie. It's an opinion. It's my
It is
opinion.
an opinion. Yes. Of which you are entitled to, and only leftists think we're no longer entitled to our opinions.
But clearly,
which
my opinion
we
doesn't agree with his. I'm a liar.
Yeah.
That's just
so, and listen, some introspective, or introspection. That's where you got to be an adult and you got to look within yourself. You've got to say, is this how I'm approaching things? Is this what I sound like? Is this how I'm coming across to other people? And in this case, the answer would be yes. It is how you're coming across to other people, which is why Kevin presented his opinion as he did. It's why I presented my opinion of Emily Randall, because I was there. I was at that debate. She didn't have a lackluster performance. Can I be honest? It was not lackluster.
She shat.
It was non-existent.
I can say Shat, by the way, because that's short for Shatner. William Shatner. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to be careful with my words. I'm not sure if it's a buffering issue or whatever. So
listen, I don't.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great on this end. Like literally, if you're having issues over there, we can't hear it. If you didn't tell us you were having an issue, we wouldn't know. Are you there, Paul?
Sounds like I'm hearing something in the background, so I wasn't sure what it was. I thought somebody else was talking.
No, we hear you just fine. You might be picking up my mic if Philip answering the phone in the other room, but I don't know what it is. I don't know why we got to the point where I disagree with your opinion, therefore you're a liar. Like that should scare everybody. That's how we've moved. That's what we've become. You know what I mean? Who's a caller?
We have Joe on the line.
We have Joe. I swear to God, if it's Justin, hang up on him.
No, it's Joe.
Here's the deal. Here's why. I'm all for letting people have opinions and call the show, but you don't get to call the show, throw your opinion out there, and then hang up like a baby.
It's a different voice.
I'm just making sure.
It's Joe.
All right. Joe? Is it Joe Kunzler?
Yeah.
Yes. I wouldn't do that, man.
I know you wouldn't. You are a gem of an individual. What's going on, Joe? What's on your mind?
I cannot believe that what's her name? Emily Crandall decided, gee, I'm going to run for U.S. House because, I can't, I'm not happy at the state Senate or something.
Yeah.
I just find it, extremely deplorable of politicians midterm to run for another office, and then we see Senator Nobles, who one day will probably be a U.S. Senator, and then the Secretary of State endorse her already. And I'm like, really? You've already got a job as a state senator. You should serve your term. Wait till the last 6 year or so before running for anything.
Yeah, we've had the conversation on the show a lot, Joe Paul. I think me and Paul both agree with you that if you, I mean, you have the legal right to do it, obviously, but I think it's a moral, just jerk move, right? I got elected to this seat. Oh, wait, something better has come along. I'm going to move on. That's like dumping your Sunday school teacher wife to marry a former Playboy model. You know what I mean? Like you're just looking to upgrade every chance you get. And listen. I don't know Emily Randall personally. We've had her in studio. We've talked to her. We had a great 20 minutes with her because that's all we were allowed to have. It's weird to me that every other candidate.
That's longer than most men have ever had.
Well, shut up, Paul. Every other candidate who comes in here wants to talk as much as possible because they want their message to get out there. But she put a limit on us of 20 minutes. But whatever. I think she's going to get to DC and she's going to join the crew, or what do they call the squad?
The squad.
I think she's going to get militant like the squad. I think she's going to want to be a hanger-oner of that group. And I really see her being like the fifth musketeer.
I think Hillary Franz still has a chance unless you guys say otherwise, because I think people will realize, Hillary had no shot of being, let's be honest here. The door was being closed on her becoming governor. Her term was almost up. And, I believe in Hillary Franz. She's gotten things done for climate, like dealing with all the wildfires and all. And I think that's a net gain for all of us in rural areas, having somebody like her in Congress versus a career politician who can't honor her term,
Well, listen. Nothing I've said is a judgment on Hillary Franz as a candidate or as a person. like nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know enough about Hillary Franz yet. I'll do my research and stuff, but nothing about her is a knock on her. I just think that for whatever reason, and Paul, I want to get your thoughts on this too.
Sure. Go ahead.
I just think that for whatever reason, the Democrat Party leadership in the state of Washington has decided to cling itself to Emily Randall's leg and hold on like a toddler not wanting daddy to go to work. And they are going to ride that leg until they can't ride it no more. And they're going to throw their resources and their support and their encouragement behind Emily. Because she checks a lot of boxes in the Democrat Party agenda.
1,000%. Yes.
Yeah. And so I like, listen, Hillary Franz might be the second coming of Mahatma Gandhi.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
But the Democrat Party does not want Mahatma Gandhi. They want a younger female who checks a box in the demographic of being a minority, who can encourage younger people and inspire younger people to vote. And I think Emily Randall checks those boxes for her. I think that she is the I am more than willing to bet every dime in Paul's bank account that Emily Randall's the nominee for the Democratic Party. And I'll vote every dime in Philip's bank account that if she is, she'll win easily, because the Democrats win that 6th congressional district seat hand over fist. Now, the Republicans haven't given the strongest challengers to him in the last several years. But I think it's because even the Republicans know that that's a Democrat seat. We're not going to throw a good candidate in there and have them get their asses kicked.
Just remember, there's always primaries.
Yeah, well, the primaries will be fun to watch.
Remember, you can vote for a Democrat in the primaries.
Yeah. I hope all the Republicans just say we're not going to vote for a Republican in the primary, and they vote for a Democrat to put the Democrat they want. You know what I mean? That'd be fun. And you vote Democrat.
Maybe I should run as a Democrat.
Oh my God.
That would help.
Yeah. But Joe, you vote Democrat a lot, right? I mean, you're not a Republican voter, right?
Yeah. I used to be, but Trump changed that.
Yeah. But you vote for Republican candidates and Republican issues. One of the first things you mentioned tonight was you liked what Hillary Franz was doing in regards to the environment, which is certainly a Democrat left issue, right? That's something that Democrats have really run on, and that's something that's important to you. And even you're like, why is Emily Randall running? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, why is she running at all? Why not just, get out of the way? I mean, I don't mean to be a jerk, but, she's running against, a real, somebody who has gotten things done to protect rural Washington. Somebody who would, had she been governor, had made sure that this state was governed by people who weren't, one eye rolling around, I mean, if Bob Ferguson's governor, watch out, because he does not understand rural economies or rural Washington. He's been a city boy all his life, and I'm sorry, I've been both, and I can tell when somebody's been a city boy all their life as much as somebody's been a country boy all their life.
Well, yeah, I'm going to bring this up to actually, Paul, really quick. Do you have any more thoughts on the Emily Randall thing? I'm going to bring up one thing really quick before we get to the bottom of the hour, and then you've got a story that we're going to talk about next. But did you have anything else on the Emily Randall before I talk about this?
You know what, partner, man? I think I've gone about as far as I can on the Emily Randall thing. I've made my opinion pretty clear. I got really nothing else to add. All I can say is that I will go out of my way to make sure everybody within the sound of my voice knows exactly what kind of a person Emily Randall is. I will actively work to make sure whoever runs against her, Hillary Franz or anybody else, listen, a moderate Democrat is 1,000 times better than Emily Randall. She's a sexist, racist leftist. You can be a Democrat all you want, but she is what she is, and she doesn't hide it. And can I throw coward in there for good measure, because anybody who would create their own bill and fail to show up to vote for it because they are afraid of what it would look like to their constituents if their opinion became part of the public record, that's a coward. That is a coward. And when she runs for Kilmer's position, I think people are going to take a much more serious look at her and not just vote for her because of the letter next to her name. And she's a coward. Did I mention coward?
You did say coward. Hey, really quick, I want to switch bases a little bit since we have Joe on the line just to talk about this really quick. I don't know if you guys saw this. The Northwest Progressive Institute. Now, again, it's in the name. Hold on, it's in the name.
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah.
So clearly they have an agenda, right? I mean, just as they, you can tell from the name sometimes, right? The Northwest Progressive Institute released a recent poll. And the poll said, who do you support for governor? All right.
Mm-hmm.
So when they included Reichert, Ferguson, Semi Bird, and Mark Mullet, who's the Democrat who really has no shot in hell.
Mm-hmm.
Reichert and Ferguson were tied at 31% in an open primary. Bird got 10, Mullet got 5. I would vote for Mullet just because I'd like to see Mullets make a comeback, but that's a different conversation.
Oh my!
But when they did a head-to-head, just Reichert and Ferguson, which I think is your ticket, right? That Reichert the Republican, Ferguson the Democrat. Reichert the Republican had a lead in their poll. This is from a progressive organization. They said Reichert had a 2 percentage point lead, 46-44 over Ferguson. So 2 questions to both of you, Paul at home and Joe in Skagit County. How much faith do we put behind this poll? And how worried should Democrats be that Reichert could really return the governor's mansion back to the Republican Party? Joe, you want to go first?
I would not be worried about Reichert. I will probably try to give Mark Millett a chance in the primary simply because I want to stop Ferguson. But, Reichert is about the only electable statewide Republican because you have to get so many votes in King County. You have to make law and order an issue, which is pretty easy right now. I mean, the Seattle voters just kicked out most of the progressive slate and put in the moderate slate.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to vote Republican, but they will. They just vote in a bunch of moderates, so they may be receptive to Reichert. And also, Ferguson just had to start a task force on organized retail theft because the heat he knows he's going to get from Reichert on law and order. So, I would really encourage Semi Bird to drop out and endorse Reichert and just realize he's just the Democrats' best friend right now. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's true.
Okay, Paul, what do you think?
I like Semi Bird a lot. I like his character. I like who he is. I like everything about him. But I think Joe has a legitimate point. But I think the better question is he hurting the Republican Party by running in the primary again? I mean, primary for Washington State is top 2, right? So, conceivably, 2 Democrats could win. But the question is Semi Bird hurting Dave Reichert in the primary? The answer actually is yes. He could conceivably hurt him in the primary. I don't think that's even remotely the case, but how much do you want to test that?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? I mean, maybe if Semi Bird just starts to feel before the primaries that he doesn't have a shot, maybe he would drop out just to make sure that there's not that conflict. But everything I'm reading, right, and I don't know, I'm not in the think tanks, right? But everything I'm reading is that Republicans are more coalesced behind Reichert than Democrats are coalesced behind Ferguson. And if Mullet can actually get a little bit of headway behind him, does he undercut Sideshow Bob's attempt to become governor? On top of that, and I'm surprised this doesn't get talked about more.
Okay, that's a good point, Kevin.
Ferguson had that lawsuit against Goodwill that he lost, and not only did he lose it, but in losing it, it required the state of Washington to pay $4.2 million back to Goodwill to reimburse them for their legal fees. That was a Ferguson fool's errand.
Yeah, and Ferguson's also suing NES Whidbey, and he's also sued Naval Base Kitsap. And as I've said before, that's sending a real message to the Navy that's not good and could really hurt us down the line when it's time to try to recruit assets and squadrons and other units and battalions and such to come and stay in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And I like reminding people the military is the third largest employer of the state. And if they start having problems, our economy could take a real hit because that military supports stores, it supports realtors, it supports, all kinds of things because the military doesn't want to build more base housing. So there's that to think about. There's also to think about in regards to Simi Bird sticking around that, our primary is not until August for a November general election.
Yep.
If this was May, it would be one thing, but he's going to take up resources and enthusiasm that really needs to be behind Dave Reichert because, look, I backed Rossi both times. I backed McKenna. It is extremely hard to get close, and we've got to win this one to save our state because this guy Ferguson, this guy, he is not a supporter of law and order, and he's a guy who just wants to sue Republicans.
Yep.
There's even a high-ranking state officer who told me in strict confidence that this high-ranking state officer, and I can't say their gender because I don't want to give it away, is really appalled at at Ferguson's constant lawfare.
Was his first name Jane, his last name Inslee?
No,
Right,
but
I
I
was
can't
hoping.
go beyond that.
I know.
I wish. I know. I'd like Jay Inslee to have stayed out of it, but once he endorsed Ferguson, it was pretty clear that Franz had to find something else to run for, and it really wouldn't have been fair or right to run for our old spot again because there's just too many good people running for that spot.
Yep. Paul, what do you think? Any thoughts?
Not really. Not on this one. No, I listen again. You brought up a really good point about the Democratic challenger, right? Could he ultimately end up hurting? It's a legitimate point, man. It's a legitimate point. But I think it's more likely than not likely that Semi Bird could end up putting Dave Reichert at risk. But that's only if the other Democrat that's going to run has any kind of significant, and it would have to be significant, like 25% plus. And if that's the case, I hope Semi Bird would look at that. He's a patriot. He's a smart guy. I think he would take a look at that and go, "Oh crap, I better back down."
Yep. Yeah.
I hope you're right, Paul. I hope if it gets to that point that he'll do the right thing because we've got to win in November, and that has to be the message. I mean, you may not like Reichert's positions on abortion and a few other things, which is follow the law, but let's get something straight here. There is just too much at stake.
For sure. I'm there with you. I don't like his position on a few issues, but God help us if little Bobby Ferguson were to become governor. We thought Jay Inslee was bad.
Well,
yeah.
One thing I will say, though, that's really important, and voters need to consider this when they talk about voting for the governor of the state of Washington. The governor has line item veto power. And that becomes incredibly important when you're signing bills. So for the listeners who don't understand this, line item veto power means that he literally can take a line out of a bill and veto that line, but approve everything else. He has the ability to circumvent what has been passed by the legislature. So keep that in mind. I'm just saying, keep that in mind. As we talk about this abortion thing, he theoretically, even though the legislature would do X, Y, and Z about abortion, he theoretically could circumvent that if he chose to as the governor with line item veto. Go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, and I'll add very, very briefly. that, the Democrats don't like calling back the legislature to, on anything, because they're worried about fundraising so much,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I hear you. Joe, I love it when you call, man. Keep calling in. Keep being a part of the show. And if you're ever down here, let us know. We'd love to have you in the studio.
I'd love to come in too. We'll have to make that happen. We talked about it, and then a little thing called a pandemic happened, so we got to fix that.
We do. And listen, we're doing a couple of shows on Saturday late afternoons or something towards the end of December because of all the holidays that fall on Sundays. So if that's easier, let us know. We'd love to have you come and just hang out in studio with us for a little bit.
We might be able to arrange that. It depends what late Saturday. I'll direct message you on Facebook.
Please do.
And we'll
just be careful. The show right before Christmas, though, Tom's going to wear his sweater with the nipples cut out because Paul likes that outfit so much. So just
won't be in studio.
It's going to be
won't be in studio.
Going to be a little trouble.
Nope, I won't be in studio. Nope.
Oh,
thank you, Joe. We love you, man. Thanks for supporting the show. Share it. Tell your friends.
Take care, Joe.
All right.
Yep.
Joe's a good egg. I like Joe. Joe's a good egg.
Yeah, we disagree frequently, and you know what happens? He doesn't call anybody names.
Well, I got a comment from Justin that in the chat that because I didn't read in the time frame that he wanted me to because I hadn't seen it because I'm just doing a radio show here. Like I got time just to stare at the chat. That he got pissy that I didn't read because clearly it meant I was trying to silence him. So I'm going to read it and I'll respond. And then we'll get to a different topic after bottom of the hour. It's Outlaw Radio. Paul's at home in his underwear. I'm in the studio.
.com.
Shut up. Back after this.
Non-underwearwearing.com.
Outlaw Radio. So I'm going to read this verbatim. It's going to have swear words in it because Justin likes to swear when he's angry. Justin said, you also know that I do. Oh, hold on. Did I miss something? Hold on. Oh, you also know that I do like to curse on chat, and I apologize for calling you a fucking moron. But then please say what the left is about truthfully and add in it's about critique of the system. I'm not calling you a liar for your opinion. I'm saying you lie when you repeat bullshit talking points, or at least not acknowledge that the left is about the critique of the system. And then he said, because I didn't get to it soon enough, you won't read those last two paragraphs since it explains what I mean in more detail of my critique about your statements of the left is all about victimhood and blaming white people.
It is all about victimhood and blaming white people. Oh,
well,
sorry.
Listen.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Here's my issue, Justin. Listen. When you call my show and you state your piece and you hang up and you throw a temper tantrum, it's hard for me to take
say your show.
Our show. Sorry, our show. It's hard
I love you.
It's
Thank
hard
you.
for me to take your opinion seriously. Because if there's one thing I want this show to be about, it is about discussion. It might be about arguments, but it's about talking through things.
100%.
But you call, spout your little mouth off, and then get pissed off and hang up the phone. Click. That's not a conversation, dude. As far as the rest of it, I meant exactly what I said. The Democratic Party is about how many people are victims and how everybody's been victimized. And I'll expound on that more in a minute. But I can't swear, so I'll have to wait. Outlaw Radio.
This is the Outlaw Radio Network.
Outlaw Radio. Now, Justin said I'm putting words in his mouth.
Oh my God! I just realized something, Kevin?
What's that?
I've realized why the left hates our show so much.
Oh, tell me.
And I just realized it in that intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Outlaw Radio Network. We have the word "work" in our title.
Oh my God! Stop. And the first three letters of radio is rad, and we're pretty rad. Anyway.
We're outlaws, not afraid to work.
Yeah.
And we're rad.
You know, I would think Democrats would love the show because the first three letters of our show is out, and Democrats are all about allowing people to come out.
For
So I
sure.
would think we'd be appreciated and adopted by the left, but clearly not. Look,
Hey, can I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, the problem with this is, and Justin, I do love you. I love that you listen to the show. I love that you're passionate about what you believe in. I hate when you call and state your piece and then hang up because you don't want to hear the other side. That's really chicken poopy to me, but whatever. But I'm not a liar. My opinion is, and I believe it 100%.
Can I
That's
throw a
the
caveat
left.
in there? This is notwithstanding what most women have to say about you.
That's true. That's true.
There you go. Okay.
My belief is that the left is making mounds and mounds of money off of the idea that everyone is a victim in America, except for the white dude. Everyone is a victim in America. Minorities, you're victims. Gays and lesbians, you're victims. Women, you're victims. You're all being oppressed by the white dude. Emily Randall made the comment herself, I won't support an old white guy. And yet the Democrats say we don't want race or gender or sexual orientation to matter. We want everyone to be judged on the basis of who they are. Well, that's
Yet
crap.
Emily Randall, right? Yet because Emily Randall will stand in front of a crowd and say she will view everything through the lens of women, LGBTQ, and minorities first.
Yeah,
That's her words. I'm paraphrasing, but that's her words.
What did your Neanderthal Alzheimer's patient president do? He picked a Supreme Court justice and publicly said, I want a black woman. He didn't say, I want the best candidate to be the job, and she happens to be a black woman. He cut her off at the knees before he even announced who she was because he said, I want a black woman to be on the Supreme Court. If he'd have said, I want a white man to be on the Supreme Court, he'd have been castrated and kicked out of office. But it's somehow okay to say, I want a black woman. I'm only going to pick a black woman. That's racist and sexist, and yet it's okay because it supports your agenda. That's hate, dude. You can dress it up and put a push-up bra on it, and it's still hate. You can
Lipstick
put
on a pig.
Yep, I was just going to say that. You can put lipstick on a pig, and it's still hate. And as long as people on the left continue to gussy up hate like it's some kind of moral imperative, you're wrong. And I don't support hate from the other side. I didn't like the things that Trump said. I don't support a lot of things that DeSantis does or says. But please quit coming off all holier than thou and then telling me that I'm a liar. I'm not a liar. I got facts and evidence to prove it. I've got your candidate saying it. I don't need to construct a false narrative. Your idiot candidates are doing it for me. And you can't be intellectually honest enough to say, yeah, that's probably not the message they should be putting out. Yeah, Joe Biden shouldn't have said, I'm going to appoint a black woman to the Supreme Court. What he should have said is, I'm appointing the best candidate, and she's a black woman.
Which would have been just fine.
Yeah.
I'd have had no issue with that at any point in time. Listen, the more minorities of all types that we have on the Supreme Court that at least reflect the makeup of America, the better off we all are. I agree with that. But find the best damn candidate. You don't go hiring somebody because of the color of their skin. Come on. Who does that? Oh, yeah. The left.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm saying that to be smarmy, right? It's freaking true.
Did we ever hear Donald Trump say anything remotely like that? And I'm being serious, because if somebody heard him say this, I want you to tell me. I'm asking the question.
It's a good question, and I don't know the answer to it. Is it? It's possible, but I never heard it.
Did we ever hear Donald Trump say anything close to something along the lines as this? I'm voting for him. I support him because he's a white guy. I won't support them because they're black. I won't support them because they're gay or a Hispanic or an Asian. Did we hear him say anything about not supporting anybody because of their race, creed, color, gender, sexual orientation, religion, anything? He did
said,
say, I'm going
in
to put
my
a travel
memory,
ban in place.
He did, and then he made a comment about Mexicans being drug dealers and rapists.
He did say that too.
But I think when you look objectively at those two situations, I think it's fairly easy to come to the conclusion that the things that he said were poorly said and poorly worded, but it didn't change his point. If you were intellectually honest with yourself about what he was trying to convey, right? He wasn't, and never has been, and never will be, a well-polished speaker. But he was trying to say that a lot of illegals coming across the border were bringing drugs, and a lot of them were raping women. As he was trying to make that point, he said it incredibly poorly, of which I don't think anybody disagrees with that. And the issue with the Muslim travel ban, listen, you're the president of the United States. Your job is to protect America. That's like job number one. First thing in your paragraph. It's not eliminate or eradicate Israel. It's protect Americans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, look, in hindsight, the Muslim travel ban was stupid.
Was it?
Well, it was. Here's why it was done.
Why?
Because we still had a weak, porous southern border. So if I'm Mohammed in Saudi Arabia and I want to bring a backpack nuke to the United States.
Well, that's racist, Justin.
Oh, what did Justin? No, what? No,
nothing. I'm giving you grief.
I picked the most common name in the Muslim world for a reason, okay? If I'm Mohammed in Saudi Arabia and I want to bring a backpack nuke into the United States, what's an easier path for me? To hop a flight and deal with visas and passports? Or to somehow make it to Mexico and saunter across the southern border? So the Muslim travel ban made sense in what he was intending to do, but it was ineffective because even if it was effective, you had a weak, porous southern border that a terrorist could have waltzed across.
For sure.
Yeah. So
for sure.
I'm
there with you.
And Reagan, Justin says Reagan did it, but I don't know what Reagan did. Reagan did a lot of things, but I don't know what. Go ahead, Paul.
He did some good, some bad. I'm a big Reagan fan, but I'm the first one to say there were a few mistakes Reagan made. Iran-Contra, to name one. Here's something, and this might offend some people and hurt them and piss them off, but this is still a reality. It's still a fact. Justin, I'm speaking about you.
We're doing business, and business is good. Go ahead, Paul.
Right. Speaking of doing business and business is good, we're all aware that Trump's ability to be on the ballot in the state of Colorado or Wyoming, it was one or the other. Apologies that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Colorado
was recently in court this last week. And although the judge did publicly basically scorn Donald Trump as president, he did point out that his behavior did not rise to the level which precluded him from being on the ballot as a result of him, quote unquote, attempting to engage in sedition. Therefore, Donald Trump is going to be on the ballot in all 50 states in a year from now. Again, another nice try, great attempt, but deeply flawed, because I think everybody knows that there was no serious attempt at an insurrection. There was just a lot of mostly peaceful protesting.
Well, listen.
On January 6th. And by the way, can I point out, because everybody I know on the left likes to say the same thing about January 6th, and police officers died. No, actually, a couple of protesters did. No police died on January 6th, and Officer Sicknick died the next day of a stroke. But they try to say it was all the stress of January 6th. Not likely. That's not what causes a stroke. Although it can, but it would have to, if it was going to cause a stroke, it would have happened that day. So the point is, he was going to have a stroke at some point. I got a chance to learn about those kinds of things after my dad suffered a stroke, because it was my dad, right? And I really wanted to know about it. I needed to understand it. I needed to understand, what do I have to be worried about, So stress, high blood pressure, those things contribute. But if it had been that day, it would have happened that day. So
yeah,
it may have sped it up a bit, but the protesters did not directly cause him to die.
Yeah.
And it's a huge fallacy that gets put forward by people on the left on a regular basis without any care or worry in the world about telling the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. I may have some of the details wrong about Officer Sicknick, but that doesn't change the point. Protesters did not kill him. So I do believe that he was the victim of assault, though. But again, protesters didn't kill him. So.
Yeah. And listen, I don't, you're not wrong. I mean, that could have happened on a traffic stop. That could have happened on, because the guy clearly had a medical issue that was either being treated or undiagnosed or whatever. Right. But I mean,
sad for his
very
family.
Sad.
I mean, he was an officer and he was doing his duty. So,
yeah. But I don't, again, it's that victimhood from the left, right? Everybody's a victim. Yes. You're all victims. They're like Oprah on the Oprah Winfrey Show giving away cars. You're a victim, and you're a victim, and you're a victim, and you're a victim. Everybody's a victim.
And you get a victim, and you get a victim. Here's your little colored children. Yeah, I get you.
And here's what's great, right? Here's what's phenomenal. Is that Justin ignores the fact that I am technically a minority.
It's true, yeah.
But he talks to me like I'm the white guy that he doesn't like. And calls me names.
It depends on who, brother. It depends on who's on the phone, right? I've watched you take the side of a caller, and I pointed out very matter of factly to you. Well, Kevin, how does it feel to be called a racist? And you're like, nope, not today. I'm Native American. So don't bury yourself in the park completely.
No. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying it's very convenient, right? How the left does that.
Yes. No, I agree.
Kevin is Native American. And when I say Native American, I mean licensed with the tribe, have a card, buy health insurance, all of that. I'm a member of a tribe. Okay.
So like literally couldn't be more. Yes.
Like couldn't literally be more. Candace Owens. She's discounted by everybody at the left. Her opinion doesn't matter. Why? Because she doesn't parrot the narrative.
That's right.
But she's a black woman. Like she's not only one minority, she's two. But she's ignored because she doesn't say what they want to hear.
That's 1,000% correct. Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's not even we're going to listen to the plight of African Americans. We're only going to listen to the plight of African Americans if they mimic what we want them to say. We're not going to listen to what women say. We're going to listen to what women say who say what we want to hear them say.
Yes.
They don't give two rats' asses about the plight of African Americans. They only care about African Americans who back up what they want them to do. Hold on.
Yeah, I'll give you evidence of that too. We'll talk about how bad Democratic lawmakers are.
Going to break. Outlaw Radio. More.
Network.com.
Shut up.
My bad.
Shut up. Outlaw Radio.
Network.com.
Turn it up just a little bit. Turn it back up just a little bit. Every time I hear this guitar riff, I feel like it's from one of those 80s, early 90s big hair bands like Winger or Striker.
Oh my God. Striper.
Skid Row.
To hell with the devil.
That's right. That was a good song, man.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so Justin said, are we not allowed to critique Candace Owens' rhetoric? Sure, you can critique it.
Absolutely. Critique it all day long.
Yep. Are you going to critique everybody else at the same level as Candace? No, you're not. I don't see any Democrats on my social media feed, on MSNBC, anything. I don't see any of them holding Britt Hume to the same level of accountability as they hold Candace Owens. Look, we saw it in Kitsap County with Marco Padilla. Marco talked about it all the time. The number of Democrats that gave him crap because he ran as an independent and not as a Democrat. There was some onus on him because he was a Latino American that he had to be a Democrat.
Yes.
He got so much crap for the Democratic Party locally because he didn't run as a Democrat. Like, come on,
they drove him to become a Republican, by the way. The Democratic Party drove that Latino man to become a Republican because their behavior towards him was so abhorrent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's crazy when you put it into perspective like that, isn't it? It's just crazy.
But yeah, you Democrats are the party of inclusion. You people on the left are all about acceptance. Yeah, acceptance if they mimic you, if they parrot you. Now, hold on. Republicans aren't a lot better, right? Because a lot of Republicans
they've got their flaws.
This whole rhino
Republicans have flaws.
Republican.
Everybody has flaws, though, right? Right.
Except
I mean, libertarians Libertarians have
We're
flaws.
back on AM in 3 seconds. Outlaw Radio.
I mean,
I'm flawless.
because
I'm perfect.
they're such libertarians are such losers. Oh, did I say that out loud? Whoops.
I'm Brandy Cruz, host of the Undivided Podcast, and you're listening to Outlaw Radio. Good luck.
We need to get Brandy back on the show. No, she just got married.
Yeah, we can have her talk about how because I know her and I both liked Vivek Ramaswamy. I have so grown out of Vivek Ramaswamy. Oh, I liked him so much at first, but holy cow,
you don't like him now?
Well, it's not that I don't like him, but he's so smart and so accomplished, but somebody has advised him, or maybe he's advised himself, that taking the Donald Trump approach to leadership is going to be effective. It is not. It is not going to be effective. I mean, he's now doing the same things that really turned me off towards Donald Trump. Listen, you got to have an ego, but when your ego becomes unapproachable because you naturally feel you're smarter than everybody else in the room, come on, man. To me, that's just not good leadership. It's not good leadership, man. Good leadership is knowing and understanding that you don't know everything and being willing to have those conversations. That's like the number one rule to leadership as far as I'm concerned. And Vivek has just proven himself and he's going into these debates like to me the debates have hurt him, not helped him. The debates have, and it's like I look at him, the last person that was on stage in the last 2 months that I had any will to support was Haley. But you know what she's done? She's proven herself to have better leadership skills than everybody else on that stage, with the exception of DeSantis. But DeSantis is equal. To me, the two of them have put themselves in a class above everybody else. And at some point in time, Donald Trump's going to have to get on a stage with one or both of them.
Yeah. Listen to this really quick. Listen to this really quick. So NBC, and then I'll get Philip your comment in a second. NBC News just released their latest poll.
Yeah.
Trump wins by 2 percentage points.
Trump wins by 2 percentage points over Biden.
Epic just released their latest poll in Michigan. Trump by 5. In Michigan, Haley versus Biden. Haley by 11. I mean, now the New Hampshire primary has Trump by 28. Trump by 6 in the general election on one that came out on Friday by Harvard Harris. Trump, Biden, and Kennedy has Trump by 8. Trump, Biden, Kennedy, West, and Stein has Trump by 9. I mean, I don't know how to respond to any of that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
It is.
What does it tell you? What is it like? Listen to it, right? What are these? I've spoken for years about how individual polls don't mean crap, right? We learned that in the 2016 election cycle. One poll means nothing. But all of these polls as a whole, what does it say to you? Imagine you're listening to a girl you're dating and you're at dinner, and these polls are telling you things. What are they telling you, Kevin?
That the tide is turning. That what's happening now isn't working.
For sure.
Here's my fear, though, Paul. Is that let's say Trump gets convicted between now and the election.
For sure. Total possibility, too.
If he gets elected, do we honestly think people are going to vote for him in a jail cell? I mean, some Americans will, right? Some will.
Mm-hmm.
But do we honestly believe enough of them will vote for him in a jail cell to put him as president? Like, this is the Republican Party putting all of their eggs in a basket, and a very trepidatious basket at that.
Listen, I do not discount by one iota the point that you are making right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the very reason why, I sat down, I looked at these cases against him, right? And every one of these cases is based upon a prosecuting attorney working with other prosecuting attorneys, throwing as much crap against a wall, praying to God that something sticks out of sheer hatred for Donald Trump. It's really, really apparent, right? But it doesn't matter. We all know that the justice system is flawed. Minorities have known it forever, right? So right now, in a sense, white people are seeing what minorities have had to deal with for a long time. Hate-filled women out there are getting a chance to see what white men deal with when they're in any type of paternity suit. Right? These are the level of injustice is there, whether people want to admit it or not. We've discussed it ad nauseum on our show. Okay, it's not like it isn't there, and it's not like we don't acknowledge it. We do.
Yep.
So this idea that, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this to Trump. I mean, most of us that are realists about it are looking around going, this is a shock to you. You know, I mean, it's not a shock. It shouldn't be a shock to anybody what they're doing. Now, having said that, because this isn't a shock, here's the biggest problem with it. There's no consequences for the people that are doing it. There's not any consequences for Letitia James. Any rational, reasonable person watches an African-American woman run for the DA, run for the head prosecutor's office in the state of New York, and as part of her sales pitch to elect her, says to the people of New York, vote for me and I'll put Donald Trump away, then watches her take him to court and thinks that it's unbiased. Nobody thinks that that's unbiased. Nobody. It was
I
part
bet you
of her
Justin does. I bet you Justin does.
Yeah, well, it could be. It could be. But
I bet you a lot of Democrats do.
You know, there are people out there, if they heard me saying this right now, would say, she never said that. Do a 30-second Google search, man.
Yeah.
You will find all the time she said that. It will pop right up. And this woman ran as part of her platform for office stating, if you elect me, I'll prosecute Donald Trump. That in and of itself, right off the top, should nullify all of it, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
But hold on. I'm going to be honest with you about something.
Sure.
I am totally okay with her running as that as her platform. And I am totally okay with her presenting a case to a grand jury. And if the grand jury chooses to pursue it, then they pursue it. Like, I really am. I mean, and I say that because if there's an injustice, if there's an injustice going on and you run on that injustice, then you should follow through on what you've run on. You know, we got a lot of politicians running on the idea that gun violence is bad. We need to stop the gun violence. So fine, run on it. And if enough people believe you and support you, and that's what they want to have happen, I'm fine with that. But let's not pretend it isn't what it is. Right? It is someone who has made a political benefit for themselves off the back of prosecuting Trump. And if charges were going to get brought, then fine, but it never should have been prosecuted through her office. Like, it should have been presented to a grand jury somewhere else, and that grand jury should have overseen it. Outside of her office. She can bring up the case, get it all together, staple it, put it in a file bag, and then another grand jury should be the ones who make that decision. That's what I think.
Listen, first of all, she should have disqualified herself running for office as soon as she decided that was a legitimate platform. One of the things that has made our country great is a peaceful transition of power, which is something I've been critical of Trump over on January 6th. Okay? You cannot make a political career out of prosecuting your political opponents under any circumstances. Any. She never should have been allowed to bring any cases against him whatsoever. Fannie Willis. You have a DA in Georgia and a DA in New York that have done exactly the same thing. They have elevated their political careers by telling everybody that they are going to prosecute Donald Trump. So what happens? The Democrats celebrate it. Why? Because it's all they care about. It's all they care about. They don't care about what's right or justice or not. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump didn't deserve to be prosecuted for some things. Not at all what I'm saying. I stood up on day one and said, if Trump colluded with Russia, prosecute him and put him in jail. And this was after he was sworn in as president. And you have Democrats who still haven't let go of that, still insist that he colluded with the Russians, completely ignoring the fact that everybody with a rational mind read the Mueller report and then followed it up and read the Durham report knows that the whole report was bogus. It was paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
But still can't acknowledge because they can't let it go. Because so many people that are Democrats, not even Democrats, people that are on the left cannot differentiate between their emotion and what is good and just and true. That's, I mean, sorry. Sorry.
Paul, I don't even
prove
think
me
it's that.
wrong. Yeah.
I don't even think it's that. Like you said, it's based off of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it's based on emotion. I think it's based on laziness and easiness. It is easy to receive a social media post from a friend that says Donald Trump colluded with the Russians, and here's a link to some website, and they
For
just
sure.
believe it, and then nothing will change. I don't think it's about emotion. I think it's about people being shallow enough to only seek out sources that already support their identity, and then not looking any further than that. And again, there's people
Yes,
on
they
the right
want
who do that
to.
as
They want
well.
to speak in. Yeah, there are the QAnon folks is a great example.
Oh my God. Yeah,
But
everybody wants
listen,
to be in an echo chamber.
Right. I and this is how I like. Listen, the QAnon folks represent maybe 3 to 5% of Republicans or conservatives or patriots or whatever label you want to put them. 3 to 5%.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of my dogs are out here playing? What percentage of the left do you feel buys into stuff in the same manner like we were just talking about? I feel like it's an incredibly higher amount.
Yeah.
And I think that's just based on the nature of people that are Democrats. They just, and this is not a good or bad thing, right? I can find flaws with Republicans because Republicans are all about the facts and they don't take emotion into play, right? They don't take feelings and thoughts, and they don't take the psychological or the emotional impact of laws and things like that into effect.
Yeah.
So that has its own set of moral issues, but most people on the Democratic left side of the political spectrum are willing to let emotion rule everything. Look at you. You've made it very clear. The Democratic Party has moved away from you, and they've gotten more and more emotionally attached to the bills that they pass and the things that occur.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you have to look much further past Washington, D.C. and law enforcement in Washington, D.C. Look at the direction that D.C. proper has gone, and Chicago, same issue. New York, same issue. These are big metropolitan cities that have allowed themselves to just go down the freaking septic tank.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want people to feel good. And listen, you don't even have to get into the issue of them desiring for illegal immigrants to have the right to vote.
All right, hold that thought. We're coming up to break. We'll continue this on the break side where Paul's allowed to swear. And maybe Philip will drop the F-bomb. That'll be interesting to see. Stick around. It's Outlaw Radio. So really quickly, Paul, can I have your permission to do something?
Yeah, you better be more specific first.
Can we? I like the music bumps that we use. We use a lot of what's his name? Michael Powers, which I'm totally cool with.
Actually, I hate it. I firmly believe that our board ops should only play the stuff that I've spent literally hundreds of hours preparing.
Well, hold on. The outro bumps. You haven't done anything with the outro bumps. You've done some intro bumps, but the outro bumps too. So I think I'm going to reformat our entire music vibe. Unlike the outro bumps and some of the intro bumps that aren't the things that you put together. Because I just feel like that cool jazz thing is great. Like I love it, but it doesn't really fit who we are. Like we're more of like a disturbed skillet kind of. We're all angry all the time. Yeah.
Yes, correct. It doesn't fit the vibe at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all.
But
And
I don't mind it
every
sometimes.
single, well, and you'll notice that every single intro that I spent those hundreds of hours over 10 years making, in one way or another, they all fit our personality, whether they're the comical ones or the real serious ones or whatever. But
Yeah,
it's
except
all
for the one
about
of
those.
you, the video you made of me drinking a milkshake looking like a fat pig. You're a jerk.
No, hey, you know what? I took that out of circulation.
Or
Bud.
the one where I was trying to hit on a pink Darth Vader. That's just weird.
Dude, that was funny as hell.
It was not funny at all.
I'm gonna, you know what? Now that you've brought that up, I'm gonna have to link that. But that was just a fun video. That was just a video I did for fun, right?
Because you never make fun ones that poke fun at you, Paul.
Oh, I
You
totally
only
did.
make
Are you
fun
kidding?
ones
No,
that
no, no.
poke fun
That's
at
not
me.
true. That's not true. The one that I did, the Western one, the Western style one, I did absolutely. I made myself look like a drunk Emilio Estevez, and I said, "Do we even have the same mother?" Come on, man. Totally did.
All right, whatever.
Totally.
Oh my God! All right, there's a bill that came up. We'll talk about that when we come back on the AIM side, because I knew you wanted to talk about it. I did some Googling on it after you told me about it, and it's amazing the conflicting stuff we'll find online about.
There's a ton of conflicting stuff. Yeah.
Some really credible sites will say it's true, it's really coming, and other really credible sites will say it's all BS and there's no truth to it. And I'm like, holy cow! Like, this isn't even like fringe websites saying one thing one way or the other. This is like NBC saying one side and USA Today saying the other, and it's the big major media stuff. So we'll talk about that coming up. Can we check the chat? Do you mind if we check the chat?
You check the chat, buddy.
Hey,
check
Paul,
that
do you
chat.
want to come to a Christmas party with me on December 24th?
Why would I be at a Christmas party on
It's at
Christmas
the
Eve instead
the
of?
Nakatomi Plaza.
Oh, I love that place.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
can we
bring
go?
extra. I'll bring extra ammo. You bring the chips.
That's right. So hey, let's check the chat. I'm going to ask the chat a question here in a second too, because I have another movie to add to the Christmas mailing list. What about Paul and the calendar? Priceless. I don't know what that's about. Okay. Yeah, Paul might have broke his camera, so that's why you're not seeing him in real time like me. Plus, I'm a lot better looking than he is. Comments in chat. Margie says overpopulation has complicated all justice systems. Citizens United, the U.S. Supreme Court case letting corporations donate to a person or donate like a person to favorite congresspersons. Well, they can donate to everything, including presidential campaigns. I don't like Citizens United. I think it's a really bad idea. I'm surprised.
Oh, hold on. Robert said, "What about Paul and the calendar?" Priceless. Robert, there's a special place in hell reserved for you now too. You
What's he
get to
talking
sit
about?
right there next to Kevin.
What is he talking about?
He's talking about the poster, the calendar I did for the victims of sex trafficking.
Oh,
you know,
God,
the one you did the wedding for.
I'll share that.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Robert. That's traumatic.
Dave McMullen says Emily Randall is trash. Thank you, Dave.
Well, he's not wrong.
Justin says, Kevin, is the left meaning Democrats to you and Paul? Well, I mean, the Democrat is certainly made up of the people on the left are some of the Democrat Party, right? I mean,
so
isn't
that's like saying are all Republicans conservatives? No. The left, I say listen, I know lots of Democrats that are wonderful people and I have good conversations with. Democrats do not equate to the left. The left so you have your right, left, and center, right? Then if you look at the far right, okay, you have some far right Christian conservatives, you have some far right hate groups.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's all right.
fella.
We're Paul and Kevin, and we kept talking even though Phil gave us the signals.
What a bunch of a-holes.
Yeah, Paul, sorry to cut you off on the Facebook
No.
side. Like,
I didn't just give you the finger. I gave you all the fingers.
Oh, I know. Philip was like signaling, hitting things, trying to get my attention. I'm like, what are you doing, Philip? And then I realized, oh, crap, we're back.
Hold on. Listen, we've been doing this for 20 plus years, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
I know as a professional radio guy that when the music starts playing, it's almost like that's the whole point of bump music, right? Like to tell you, guess what? I'm about to cut you off. So guess what I did? I quit talking as soon as I heard the music kick in. It's like I don't need a 10-second or a 30-second warning. As soon as I hear that music kick in, man, clock in my head goes off. That's how it works.
Yep. You're a good radio pro, Paul.
Goddamn
it was totally my fault, by the way.
Can we test that? Go ahead and talk, Paul.
Are you playing F around? You want to F around and find out?
He's playing music. Shut up, Paul.
It doesn't work.
I did. I did.
All right. So we referenced this on we referenced this on the Facebook top of the hour Facebook conversation.
Yes.
But a new bill has been passed that I don't think most people know about or understand the implications thereof.
It actually passed in 2021.
But it goes into effect.
Yes.
Yeah. Why don't you share?
For sure.
Share with us your wisdom, oh great one.
Well, so here's how I found out about it. There is a mandate that government-controlled vehicles made after 2025 be built, new cars 2025, be built with a controlled kill switch. And I found out about it after listening to Wyoming's only U.S. rep co-sponsored a budget amendment on last Tuesday that would have defunded a federal law that requires all passenger cars sold after 2026. So I don't know how that all works, 2025, 2026, whatever. So figure sold after like January 1st, 2026, I think, something like that. The proposed amendment failed Tuesday night in a 229 to 201 vote. With 8 people who basically abstained. So, and that was from Rep. Harriet Hagman, from Republican from Wyoming. She was among 199 Republicans and 2 Democrats who voted to defund the kill switch mandate. Voting against that amendment were 210 Democrats and 19 Republicans. She said that it is a massive and likely unconstitutional rule and an invasion of privacy on a greater scale than we are used to seeing from our government. She told the local newspaper, I think it's called Cowboy State Daily. She basically said, hey, this is too much Big Brother, right? She said the kill switch requirement has the potential for significant waste, fraud, and abuse by government agencies and corporate actors through the switch's tracking capabilities. So those switches, her claim is that those, let me take a step back. She makes some claims, right, about what the capabilities would be of this new law, right? So just picture this little black computer box in every new car. What would the capabilities of that be if it has the ability to kill the engine in any vehicle? Okay, here's why I say this, because where you made your point, Kevin, you said depending upon what site you go to, lots of people are saying it's true, some other people are saying it isn't. Where does that discrepancy come from? Now, I don't know, you probably didn't have much time to research that, so let me fill you in on the 3-second answer to where that discrepancy comes from. Because it's ambiguous. The law doesn't get specific, and it gives the authority to decide exactly what that box will do to oh my gosh, who's it? I think it's like it's the National Highway Commission or whatever it is. Something like that.
National
so they
Traffic
get
Safety Board, NTSB.
Yes, there it is. So they would get to decide exactly what the little black box could and couldn't do. So Rep. Hagman's basically saying we can use our imaginations, and if we don't put something into place that stops it from doing all these things, we don't know what'll be in it. It could do anything. And if it has the electronic power to kill your car, then that can be abused. It could be stolen. It could be hacked. God knows what could happen. How hard would it be for AI to go, hey, Here's this vehicle's license plate. AI does a 2-second search and finds the VIN number. VIN number gives access to the control box. Boom, done.
So I have an
Right?
article from Yahoo that
Okay.
actually goes into some of the other parts of this. Can I read it to you really quick?
Yahoo. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Of course.
Yahoo! All right.
It's like a bad scene from City Slickers Part 14.
So I'm just going to read this verbatim from Yahoo. I'll even post this in the chat if people want to read it. So, I don't know, and this is a little lengthy, but bear with me, okay? Because it really proves the point of why this is such a bad idea. This is from Yahoo. As we've seen both in this country and others recently, what constitutes as law-abiding can change drastically overnight. For example, in September, a car was pulled over in New Zealand, and the occupant. Now, this was written last December, by the way.
Right, that's right.
And the occupants arrested when police discovered the trunk was full of Kentucky Fried Chicken meals. They were smuggling the fast food to customers in lockdown Auckland against quarantine measures. But not too long before that, delivering restaurant orders to people was considered a legal activity. But it gets even better. In an article written by former U.S. Representative Bob Barr, he pointed out that the bill, which was signed into law by President Biden, states that the kill switch, which is referred to as a safety device, must, quote, passively monitor the performance of a driver of a motor vehicle to accurately identify whether that driver may be impaired. So in other words, Big Brother will constantly be monitoring how you drive. If you do something the system has been programmed to recognize as a driver impairment, your car could just shut off, which could be incredibly dangerous. There's a possibility the kill switch might also measure your driving as impaired. So when you try to start up the car again, the engine won't fire it up and leave you potentially stranded. Further, there's more. The kill switch safety system would be open. Or in other words, there's a back door. Paul, get your mind out of the gutter. This would allow
I was thinking of
police-
Emily Randall when you said that, so
This
don't
would
worry.
allow police or other government authorities to access it anytime, like Paul's back door. Would they need a warrant to do that? Likely not. Even better, hackers could access the back door to your vehicle and shut it down. So think about this. And I'm going to give it back to you, Paul. So think about this.
Yeah.
Not only do we accept that the government can change things on a whim, not only is it going to have 100% access by federal authorities, state authorities, whomever, to monitor how you drive, to shut down your vehicle when they deem you've done something, but it leaves you open to them accessing it whenever they want to, or potentially being hacked. If hackers will hack somebody's PC and refuse to let you have your PC back until you pay them ransom for ransomware, imagine what they could do to the Postal Service or to FedEx or to UPS or to Amazon. If they hack into all of those and say, hey, your fleet is done until you pay us our ransom. I will never buy a new vehicle if that goes into effect. I will keep my Jeep until the day I die.
It's funny that you would say that. That was exactly what my wife said, who's a controller running multiple dealerships. She was like, if this goes into effect and isn't stopped, she's like, you will see new car sales plummet. And she says, and then, may I like to point out to you, the government never puts a law into effect that they repeal, like a bridge toll. So she goes, today, in the immediate future, it becomes mandated on all new cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long before the government goes, oh my God, we need them on old cars because people aren't buying new ones now?
I don't think they can enforce that. I mean, I think it'd be how would you enforce it?
Let me ask you this, Kevin, because right now you're approaching that from a disbelief standpoint, right? Like, I don't believe they could do that, right? 4 years ago, would you have believed that a brand new virus would show up, forcing people to take a brand new, never before tested vaccine with unknown consequences, and that entire segments of the country would lose their jobs to it? No, of course not.
Yes, I would.
All kinds of things. Well, then you're a liar.
I'm not because we saw it in the early 1900s with the Spanish flu.
We didn't see that. We didn't see that.
They didn't do the vaccine, but they did just about everything else.
We didn't see that.
No, we didn't. But looking back in hindsight, we shouldn't have been surprised. Not that it was right.
That's a whole nother.
But go ahead.
That's a whole nother argument. But you understand my point. My point is that we didn't believe 5 to 10 years ago that a lot of the things that we're seeing today are plausible. Did you think Times Woman of the Year would be a man? No. I'm making the point that just because we can't see how these things would occur right now doesn't mean that the powers that be, when they want to do something, won't figure out a way to force it upon us. That's my only point. So I'm there with you, and I don't feel like anything left today in our society and in our country is beyond reproach. Nothing is beyond reproach. Top athletes in women's sports are men now.
Yeah.
Our children can tell us to F off and run away with zero consequences and have an abortion or a sex change or psycho whatever medications. These are all things we never would have thought before never would have entered our lexicon. We never would have thought this stuff was possible when we first started doing Outlaw Radio Network. And now we have to accept them, or we're the bigots. We're the racists. We're the sexists. Right? We're suddenly the anti-gay people because we believe that an 8-year-old child should not be entertained by a man in drag reading children's books instead of asking the honest question, why does a man who dresses in drag, mind you, that is sexually expressive, why does the man dressing in a sexually expressive way want to be talking to children while behaving and being dressed in a sexually expressive manner, right? We're not even allowed to ask those questions now. Again, my only point is it goes to this bigger issue that we don't know what the powers that be will do with these technologies in the near term, or especially in the long term. That's my point. And we've already allowed the government to go far, far too far in this direction of control, anti-free speech, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. It is.
That's my.
Well,
that's
and
my
here's the other thing.
3 cents worth.
It scares the crap out of me that this bill could be put into effect, and not even a warrant would be required. Like the degradation of the process of requirements for the government to get involved in our daily lives without a warrant, that should scare the crap out of everybody. And I'm sorry, Philip, you had something you were going to say earlier, and I forgot. Phil, no? Okay. The fact that they continually degrade the requirements of what it takes to get a warrant in place is astounding to me. Like, how can you interact in somebody's personal property without a warrant? How can you get a hold of their cell phone records without a warrant? How can you wiretap without a warrant? How can you do any of this crap without a warrant? That's just sick to me. Philip, go ahead.
This is the way it's going to work. Like so many things, it's not until things happen that it gets adjudicated through the legal system, and then, we hope people with the resources can fight these things. You're going to hopefully see organizations like Institute for Justice or something like that really coming to the table to help.
I would hope so, but one thing that never got overturned that should have been overturned a long time ago was the Patriot Act. Like, the Patriot Act authorized them to collect data on us without a warrant, carte blanche from telecommunications companies, without a warrant. Like, that to me is pretty unconstitutional. To just collect our data like they might need it sometime, that is unconstitutional. And yet, it got backed by the Supreme Court.
And then we've discovered at a global level how easy it is to circumvent, pass a written note.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, if they ever put that system in my car, Paul, I would go find somebody in the black market to modify it so I had a switch in my car.
Oh, these things happen. I mean, in the car market, there's things, it sounds ridiculous, but it's legit. And pushback is changing it.
Yep.
There are car makers making cars with features that they simply charge a subscription to allow that feature to work. Now, some things make sense. A cell phone, I mean, that's old, but
yeah.
OnStar. Well, OnStar doesn't work unless you subscribe. Yeah, because there's a third-party service to make it work. But what about heated seats? Legit. BMW, I believe, was it was a feature you subscribed to. It has to be installed in the car. You bought the car. It's your car. But you've got to pay a fee monthly to have access to turn on electricity to the heating elements.
Yeah.
Now, no doubt, and then they've reversed it. People were like pretty upset by that.
Yeah. It is. Listen, but again, it's a different thing, right, Phil? Because on one hand, you're talking about BMW, which is a private corporation and their model. And so if they choose to make you subscribe to a monthly plan to have heated seats, more power to them. Because the market will decide. But the government instituting this under some regulation or some threat of legal action or a fine or whatever la-di-da pansy crap they put in place if you don't comply. I mean, that's not a free decision.
Here's the question.
Yeah.
You bought that car. Do you own that car where you can modify it in any way you see fit to make the heating elements turn on? Even if it's like a manual, whatever mechanism.
I would think so.
Chances are there's some smart programmer who just override the thing.
Yeah, I would think
but
so.
But now, look at this from another angle too. We see, are the car makers even ready to implement something like this? And they're talking how many years out? 2, 3? It takes time for things to develop. How long has it taken for the airbag systems as we know it to deploy? I mean, do you know when airbags first started showing up in cars? You'll
80s?
Be surprised.
Late 80s?
70s.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Wasn't the Valiant we drove around, to tell you that right now.
No, I think it was an Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time for these. And then look at the alcohol breathalyzer systems.
Yeah.
I mean, what a racket. I mean, I've worked for a shop that installed those things.
Yeah, I had a buddy that worked there too.
I have both sadness, but also you kind of earned it, sorry. But, it sucks. Now imagine that on every new car, something of that level of intrusion.
That is one of the things, to your point, Philip, that is one of the things that it's being compared to, but it's literally being compared to the, what are they called? The ignition interlock devices in their complexity or simplicity. But the difference is, as you put it, Philip, those are earned.
Yeah.
And these wouldn't. This is not about choice. And a couple of points in the chat room that I want to point out. I very much am a bigot, and I recognize that. So before you call me a bigot, like somehow it's a pejorative, understand that I am one, and I know that I'm one. And I am not unapologetic or afraid to announce it. There are certain things that I will not unreasonably change my view or opinion on. Murdering a child is one. So there are certain things. You want to call me a bigot, you can call me a bigot all day long. But it's, it was pointed out in the chat, no child is having a sex change unless the doctor and parents both agree to it. I would then suggest you to go back and read the new laws in Washington State.
See,
because your comment doesn't wash with that.
It is an absolute lie, Justin. Hold on, I'm going to be more direct. That is an absolute lie. We already talked about on this show that the Children's Hospital in Boston had already carried out multiple surgeries and guaranteed that they would do it as long as the child was over 13. They didn't need parental consent because they were over the age of 13, and thus they do not have to have parental consent to do anything. Now, there may only be a handful of ones that are doing it, but we covered a story, I'll go dig it up when I have time, on a reputable website that talked about the hospital in Boston that was doing it. And that they plan to continue doing it. In fact,
the doctors in the hospital, those doctors got caught on a hot mic talking about it. Yeah. There's no disputing it.
Now, I will say this. I think it's a rare instance today. I think 99% of hospitals in this country are not going to do that. But I don't think it'll be 99% in 5 years. I think it'll be 90.
No, it always starts somewhere.
Yep.
And we've seen that. We've seen that every year with different issues, haven't we, Kevin?
And in 10 years, it'll be 70.
Yes. And this is why I always harp on the slippery slope argument, as Kevin has so frequently quoted me, right? Because we've seen it in this industry so many times. You cannot look at Kevin and I about any political issue that we have talked about on air, and and say to us that that doesn't happen because we've seen it happen far too many times. Well, it's only this today. This is all that was passed. Yep, but I can tell you where it'll be in 5 years.
Yep.
Now, I remember when in Washington State, and Kevin, you may not remember this conversation, and that's okay, but we were talking about the law that would allow gay men and women to marry each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this debate because we supported it and we supported their right. But the one thing that I kept coming back to is, what are they going to turn it into?
Yep.
What are they going to turn it into? And here we are now, all these years later, and we're seeing the beginnings of them twisting it and turning it. And it goes right into the LGBTQ issues, right? Where people say, well, if you don't support me, a white male calling myself a black woman, then you're going to try to take away my rights to marry my same-sex partner. That's how it's being manipulated. It's being used as an issue to force through other issues.
Yep. And we're gonna go to break here in a minute. Well, sorry, Paul. We're gonna go to break here in a minute. I'm gonna read to you some information about a law that's on the books in Washington State and exactly what it says in regards to this very issue. And then Justin can eat crow. And again, Justin's gonna say, well, this hospital's not doing, this hospital's not doing. It's not the point. When you start allowing hospitals to make money, do you think they're not going to make money? Do you think they're going to turn patients away and not make big bucks off their inflated medical expenses that they're getting paid from the insurers? Of course they're not. They're going to scoop up that money. Show me that dollar. Hold on, Outlaw Radio.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network.
By the way, I'll have you guys know that I'm feeling very sexy tonight. Oh, Paul's gone. Did Paul leave us again? He's having so many issues. I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do.
I'm not sure. Maybe a bus pass?
Maybe.
What do you think?
So let me read this. Hopefully Paul hears this. So in 2021, the Washington legislature passed State Bill 5889. Okay. Here's what that bill did. That bill required insurance companies to cover gender dysmorphia treatment and gender affirming care for all minors aged 13 to 17, specifically without parental consent. It also required that insurance companies deal directly with the patient and did not require the insurance policyholder's authorization. Okay? It requires all communication go to the patient. And it says specifically that the insurer may not disclose the patient's medical information to outside parties, including the policyholder, unless given permission. The policyholder, in many of these cases, is the parent. So again, let me spell this out. The bill says insurance companies have to pay for gender affirming care and gender dysphoria treatment for minors 13 to 17. Insurance are not required they're not even allowed to get permission from parents. They are not allowed to provide information to parents unless permission has been given. So I don't know why this is hard for Justin and his ilk to understand. And maybe today there's not a state in Washington, there's not a hospital in Washington that does that. But in 5 years there will be. That will happen in 5 years. Because a hospital is going to see dollar signs and the opportunity to charge big money that'll be paid out from an insurance company. And they're just going to see a money churn. Listen, why do you think bariatric surgeries are so popular now? Because insurance companies will pay for them. Why is the semaglutide shot so prevalent now? Because some insurance companies will pay for them. They'll let you pay for everything because it makes them money. Outlaw Radio, hold on.
.com.
It's so good to see your face. How's your mom and are you okay?
What is that? What bump is this?
Something I got.
You know what? I got to put my foot down at some point. Listen, we need stuff with a little edge to it.
Oh, it gets edgy eventually.
No, we lost Paul again. What the hell?
Well, that's our edge.
We need stuff with a little bit of edge on it, a little bit of a guitar edge to it. Some Breaking Benjamin, some Disturbed. No Nickelback. Okay. No Creed. I love Creed, but Creed doesn't make good bumps.
Well, I'm just learning what not to use. Okay.
Justin said that doesn't mean sex changes, but could. Sure. Again, not your issue. Why should we outlaw that? I didn't say we outlawed it. I said
if they're underage, it should be outlawed.
Well, I think that's a good conversation to have. But one thing and I'm open to that conversation. The conversation I'm not open to is decisions being made about minors
on
insurance policies their parents are paying for that could result in charges and costs to the parents because no insurance covers 100% of everything. There's always copays. And you're going to tell the parents they have no say? By the way, who's going to care for these kids when they get discharged from the hospital after having gender reassignment? You going to send it home to mommy and daddy's house where mommy and daddy didn't even know that they're going to have their genitals mutated in some way? And say, go back home to mommy and daddy's house. Mommy and daddy don't even know what they're signed up for. That's effing ridiculous, guys. That's just dumb.
The child doesn't even know what they're signed up for.
No. And the parents,
lifelong care.
The parents don't know that Junior just had gender reassignment surgery and comes home and is going to need a whole bunch of extra care after they leave the hospital. And now the parents are going to be asked to provide that when they didn't even know what was going on. They didn't know to request time off of work. They didn't know to have supplies. They didn't know to do this. They didn't know to ask these questions that clearly a 15-year-old kid can't ask because they're dumb. Because they're 15.
It's tragic.
It's ridiculous, man. That is insanity.
We've seen it far too many times, Kevin. And listen, if you don't have experience as a parent, anybody, like this goes out to anybody, if you don't have experience as a parent, you can't really fathom this conversation. Because if you take a 12, 13, 14-year-old, whatever, and they want X, Y, and Z, and your mom or your dad, and you say no, and there are reasons why you say no, right? Whether it be how you're trying to raise your child or because it's not good for them or whatever, right? Well, then now in this state, all that child has to do, right, is go to a teacher or a counselor or somebody else and say, you know, my parents will not support my gender affirming care. They will not use my pronoun. Oh, okay, 13-year-old Jimmy. No, it's Susie. Oh, I'm sorry, Susie. Ronald Reagan said it very well when he said, this societal issue went south when people who know better started allowing people not in a position to make demands to make demands.
Mm-hmm.
That's when stuff started going south. And if you ain't got kids, I'm sorry. You know, I'm not going to say you don't belong in the conversation. You're allowed to have an opinion, but I'm not going to value your opinion as much as I'm going to value another parent's because you simply don't have the life or learned experience to have as meaningful of an opinion as a parent.
Yeah.
I don't know if Justin has kids or not. I'm willing to bet he doesn't, but I don't know.
Well, and you know, Justin said they're not doing that. Without the proper care, the child is safe as well. But here's the problem, Justin. Maybe they're not doing that today. Okay, I might give you that. Maybe in Washington State, they're not doing that today. But I'm going to tell you a story. This involves my mom. She has to check in with the pain clinic, the pain doctor, every single month because she's on pretty good painkiller medications. And so we go meet the pain clinic doctor in his office. And I'm going to tell you exactly how the conversation goes. He has his nurse come in. They run all the blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen levels, all that good stuff, get all the stuff together. He wanders in, literally takes 5 minutes in the room with her. And this is about how the conversation goes. How you doing? You feeling okay? Pain meds enough for you? Would you like me to increase the dosage? Okay. You need it stronger? Okay, I'll double it from 5 to 10. That's what he does. And he's out in 5 minutes. Why is that?
But he made a healthy check.
Why he didn't, and I hate the guy. I really do. If he ever listens to this show, I hope he dies in a fire. Because I hate the guy.
Now, just imagine if the opposite happened. Oh, we think she needs less pain, and she's trying to explain how she's suffering. No, we think this is too addictive. I mean, can you imagine the other way?
No, but you're right. But
Yeah.
here's the problem. He spends less than 5 minutes and prescribes more oxy, more hydro. And yet we know that there's addiction issues out there. We know that those companies have been sued, and he believes he can handle it in 5 minutes. How does this apply to the discussion? Let me tell you. When you incentivize for-profit medical providers to do things and you give them legal loopholes that allows them to do them easier, it will happen. So maybe it's not
Every
happening
time.
today. But yeah, maybe it's not happening today, but it'll happen. It's only a matter of time. It just is. Before St. Michael's Medical Center in Silverdale is doing transgender assignment surgeries on minors, nobody has to sign off on it because Junior got to make the decision themselves. And I firmly believe they'll send them home without proper care. Because how could they get proper care? They're not required to talk to the parents. So all they can do is rely on Jimmy or Susie, whatever their name is, to set up proper systems. You're going to ask a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old to have the presence of mind to think this is what I'm going to need when I get out of surgery. I'm still living at mom and dad's house. They're going to cut off my penis and replace it with a vagina. But I don't want to tell my parents because they'll be pissed. But they'll have to accept it if they find out I did it. And then they're going to send them home. And who's going to take care of them? Who's going to provide the medical care? Who's going to get them to the doctor appointments after the fact? I know you don't want to pretend like this stuff isn't going to happen, Justin, but please pull your head out of the ground. This is for-profit medical. They don't care. They care about dollar signs and keeping their operating rooms full. I'm sorry, Paul, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the way that you just put it, now the argument will mutate, right? It'll be, see, our for-profit medical system is bad. Socialized medicine is good. And again, that's a whole nother issue. It's a whole nother issue.
Not in this is not, Paul. Socialized medical would be the exact same thing.
Well, I do believe you're correct.
You'd still have the loopholes. You'd still have the no parental consent. You'd still have children who can't decide, what type of iPhone they want this week, making decisions about their bodies that are going to last them for a lifetime.
I mean, the information says, the best of my understanding, if the children were allowed to wait, it's not a yes or no, it's wait to 18. A lot of it, like they say, 90% resolves. And then that's a good time to make that life-changing decision.
Listen, here's the hypocriticalness of the left. This is where the left is stupid. Stupid! In California, the left fought really, really, really hard. And they eventually got a state bill passed in the state of California. And here's what the state bill said. If someone commits a murder before they're 26, they cannot be sentenced to the death penalty because we accept that your brain is not fully developed until you're 26.
Yeah.
Males, yeah.
So because of that, we are not going to hold you to the same legal standard because we know that your brain is not firmly developed. And the state of California agreed with that and said, yep, not firmly developed. So we're not going to hold you to that system. So if you murder somebody in California and you're 21 years old, you cannot be sentenced to the death penalty because they have acknowledged your brain is not firmly developed to be totally responsible for the results of your actions. And yet, we allow 13-year-olds to decide what their medical treatment should be. At any level. Now, I understand that there are kids that are in poor households with parents that don't accept them or abuse them or neglect them or whatever. I get that. Then those children should be enabled to go to a responsible person in authority. That should be reported to CPS, and then you let the courts get involved. And if the court reviews the evidence and says these parents are abusing them or mistreating them, then we're going to take this, and this actions. But that should go to, there needs to be due process. The current system doesn't allow for that. And we're going to let a 13-year-old make a decision. I took my daughter at 14 to the doctor. She was complaining of migraines constantly. And the doctor said, I want to run some blood tests. I need to take your blood. And she freaked out and went into hyperventilation and refused for them to take her blood. So the doctor said, nothing I can do for you then, because she was afraid of needles. I empathize with that. But she got to suffer for years because she wouldn't let them take her blood. Because she was scared of the needle. That's effing ridiculous. That's not based in any scientific evidence. That's a child being a child. And if I'd had my way, sorry, Justin, I'd have held her down and made him let her give her blood. Because what if there's something enormously wrong with her that was leading to the headaches? It sucks. When my son was 5, hold on, Paul.
Yes, you have experience with this. Yep.
When my son was 5, he had cancer. We had to hold him down and give him an injection in his backside the 3rd week of every 4-week cycle because he had to get steroids because his white blood cell count plummeted after chemo. It was the absolutely worst experience I have ever endured in my entire life. My 5-year-old son screaming at me and his mother, why do you hate me? Why are you doing this to me? Why don't you love me? But parents do it because it's the right thing to do. And I'm sick of every single parent being labeled as a pedophile or an abuser or a neglector or a blah because we want to take care of our children. I don't know what the percentage rates of children that are being abused by their parents are, but I reckon it's not more than 10%. So you're going to punish 90 to save the 10. It's idiotic.
Another factor. I mean, I'm following the chat a little bit. It's information. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. It'd be interesting. Just my comment, when they have clusters of children deciding they identify as trans in clusters in little social groups,
yes,
really makes me wonder. I don't think it's something in the water. And I'm not trying to be too trite. I'm trying to be a little funny, but there's something more going on.
But
here.
You're right.
That doesn't make.
Why do so
sense.
many teenagers in social groups all start smoking at the same time?
It's all the same thing, right?
They don't smoke because they want to. They don't smoke because it's a pleasurable experience. The first time you start smoking cigarettes, you hack up a lung and you feel like you're going to just choke to death. They do it because they're rebelling against the system, against their parents, against people telling them what to do. They want to be cool. It's the exact same thing with the LGBTQ things in our high schools. Some of them may very well be gay. I'm not disputing that. But a majority of them are rebelling against a system where they don't want to be told what to do. And Justin, F off. He said I'm a horrible person because I would assault my daughter to medical experiments. No, she's complaining in tears on a constant basis that she has migraine headaches. There could truly be something absolutely wrong with her. Yes, I'm going to have them do a blood draw.
I think your wording it's your style. What kind of loving parent would not want to help their child get the care they need to help with the migraine?
Yeah.
How much do you have to hate your child not to do that?
Because she's afraid of needles. I'm sorry.
You know, I mean, how much do you have to really not care about your child to not? Now, I'm not saying. I know. I think you were being. What do you call it? Hyperbolic, over the top. You know, I'm going to hold my child. No, what's probably going to be is, here, I'll hold your hand. We can do this together. Let's be real. That's what's going to happen. That's what I have to do.
I tried that actually, by the way. No, I'm not being hyperbolic. If
I mean,
If
that's what
the-
I have to do with my disabled brother. It's time for a blood draw. We need to test this. Oh, I don't like the needle. Okay, just look at me. I got you right here. She's going to do a really good job. And the lady who does the phlebotomist, amazing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't like it. I don't like it. And then what's already over.
Yeah, I'll be labeled a horrible person. Then that's fine.
That's
but,
loving.
But here's the deal. If my daughter, okay, keep in mind these headaches have been going on for a long time, reducing her to tears, not wanting her to leave her bedroom because they were so bad. Okay, awful. Okay, if the doctor says this could be a really serious medical condition. This could be bad. We really need a blood draw to find out. What kind of parent am I if I'm just like, no big deal, daughter. Let's just go home. You can be miserable every day for the rest of your life. Knock yourselves out. No. You can cry. No, I'm sorry.
Is there other options? A medical professional way off. I see this. The fear of needles is real. Here's an option. Would you consent to? We can provide whether there's nitrous or something to bring them down so the anxiety goes away, or frankly put them under in a sense through a inhaled thing to allow them to get the treatment, consented, obviously. If you deal with a teenage daughter, they still have you need their buy-in.
See Justin, who's not a doctor, by the way, is saying, well, can't they do other procedures? Can't they do a brain scan? Blah blah blah. I'm not a doctor. The doctor said the best thing we can do right now is run blood tests to see what the numbers say. Is there a hormonal imbalance? Is there something? What's going on? Right? And by the way, insurance companies usually require other things to be done before they'll pay for brain scans.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and the fact, see, and Justin, you're an idiot. He says in the chat, tell them what you want. I don't know what I want. I'm not a goddamn doctor. I don't know the medical procedure. I'm not going to pretend that I do. What I'm going to say is, hey, doc, you've been trained through 8 years of medical school, 4 years of residency, whatever time you spend in your specialization, you know what's best. You tell me what we need. And that's the problem. We would rather cater to an illogical fear of an adolescent teenager. I'm afraid of needles. We'd rather cater to their irrational fear than do something that helps them get better. That's ridiculous, dude. And you acting like you know as much of a doctor, tell them what you want. That's dumb. Because you're not a doctor. Now, if I was a doctor, I'd certainly do that. But I ain't a doctor. Go ahead, Paul.
I didn't even catch all of what you were saying because I had to take my headphones off for a minute. So my apologies if there were some loud bird noises. I have a owl that has been hanging out on a tree in the middle of my chicken and duck pen. And and he's been out there every night for like the last week. Now, he hasn't attacked any of my birds yet, but he certainly could. So
give it time, yeah.
one of my hens, I don't know how, because she's smarter than me, clearly, has figured out how to get out of my chicken coop whenever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was outside of the chicken coop, sleeping on top of the chicken coop in the netting. So I saw the owl out there and I had to go out and catch her and put her back inside so that she wouldn't be at risk of being attacked by the owl. So my apologies if there were some loud noises.
No, you're okay.
But here's what I was going to say. Only catching a snippet of that. And I apologize ahead of time. This is not meant towards anybody, but it is so hard for somebody who is not a parent. It seems like it's a black and white issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a parent, it's like it's impossible for me, and I recognize this, to wear the shoes of a pregnant woman. Now, I comment strongly about the abortion issue, but I can't identify with a pregnant woman, and I understand that. It's the same thing for people who are not parents. You might want to, and you can be involved in the conversation, but you cannot identify with what it means to be a parent. Sorry, you just can't. And there are things as a parent, to your point, Kevin, that you have to do. And while to somebody on the outside looking in, you're going, oh my God, I can't believe you would say that or do that or whatever, right? Sorry, sometimes you've got to be a parent, and that comes with what we call tough love and making tough decisions. And most importantly, making decisions in the best interest of the child, because You are the parent. That's your job.
And because they are not mentally equipped to make the decision themselves.
1000%.
Yeah. But I know,
1000%.
Justin, listen, here's what Justin does. And I called him an idiot. So I did call a name. I apologize. But that's what Justin does. You're a horrible person. You're a bad parent. Your dad is an a-hole, referring to me that I'm an a-hole. That's okay, Justin. You just keep being you, boo. The end result is that Justin's totally comfortable letting people be miserable, die slow, miserable, painful deaths.
Or worse yet,
mental
Kevin,
health.
letting a 14-year-old go on puberty blockers and other medications that are inherently very bad for them because they're wrapped up in this idea that, well, I want to be like my friends. Only 7% of the adult population are LGBTQ, and it's like, was it 2% of those are trans people? And so, and that's why the numbers, like we talked about earlier, Kevin, the numbers bear out that by the age of 20, 90% of those people have either lost interest in that altogether or have decided that they're just gay.
Yeah.
Not that they wanted to be trans.
Hold on. Justin just gave the trope response that I was waiting for. Justin said, and so you want to outlaw us? No. We're asking you to wait until you're mentally formed enough before you make major life-altering decisions that you can't take back. Again,
which means minimum over 18, if not 21, 22 years of age.
Well, again, California said at 26. If you commit a murder before 26, we know that you're not mentally developed enough. So we're not going to give you the death penalty. So 26. I'm not saying I have the number, but 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old? Have you been to a school lately? These are kids who can't control their behavior in the classroom. They can't put their cell phones away enough to learn math. I mean, how many kids threaten suicide because they can't handle the struggles of their normal life as it is? And you're going to let them make these decisions? It's a lousy idea. I don't want to outlaw anybody.
And let's be honest.
Hold on, Paul, I want you to respond to this too. Puberty blockers allow the child and teen to figure themselves out.
Wrong.
Is what Justin said.
Because you can't come back from that. You cannot. And you only need to listen to detransitioners to hear how bad it has been for them. And the biggest flaw that they have in the whole system is that nobody pushes back. 13, 14 years old girl like Chloe goes into the doctor and says, hey, I'm confused about some things. And the doctor says, would you rather have a dead son or a living daughter? There's a lot of money from the insurance companies in gender affirming care. So there are some doctors that have jumped on it out of pure greed. Has nothing to do with what's best for those kids.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't acknowledge that there's a different set of opinions out there, then you're not capable of having the conversation. And I'm not even saying that one side is right and one side is wrong. If you can't acknowledge that there's a second opinion out there, then you're not adult enough. You're not mature enough to even have the conversation.
Well, if you can't acknowledge that kids, that kid, like he said in Justin said, I want to go back to that. I'm for respecting our children and teens' rights with their lives. I'm not.
No,
I don't mean that crappily. Like, I have a really good relationship with most of my kids. My youngest and I talk about everything. I will listen to her and respect her opinion. I will advocate for what is best for her. But I wouldn't let her make a choice that's a bad idea. I wouldn't let her make a choice that she can't change her mind on when she's more fully developed.
That's your job as a parent.
What is it? The umlangata, what is that? The Abdella umlangata, what is that? I don't remember what it's called.
Frontal lobe.
Yeah. When that frontal lobe is more developed, like, yeah, I don't respect their ability to make their decisions. And the fact that Justin, you specifically, and people on the left cannot rationally accept the fact that their brains aren't developed enough to make these decisions I am all for supporting them in their life decisions in ways that can be undone. I really am. I think if Bobby wants to go to school and go as Cindy and dress as a girl, I'm all for letting them do that. I really am. I don't care, because I think part of what we're doing to our kids by telling them no is making them want to do it more.
Well, that's part of parenting, and it's but that's a personal parenting decision, right?
But,
and
but
Robert
but
brings up a
no.
good point, Kevin. He says Justin ignores the suicide rate of the trans people, larger than 30%. I don't think the suicide rate is. I think it's the attempted suicide rate that's that high. And one of the things we did a story on over a year ago on this issue, Kevin, you may remember this, was that people who said they were trans, 30% of them or more had attempted suicide. For those that went through with the procedure, the suicide or the attempted suicide rate was almost identical, meaning going through with a trans procedure or not was not the answer. Why? Because it almost certainly is a mental health issue, whether that's good or bad. You don't have to agree or disagree. But when having a trans saying I'm trans, now I'm happy, but the same percentage of people are still attempting suicide after the procedure, that's telling you that the procedure and having it or not having it is not the issue here. It's mental health issues.
Yeah. And Justin said too, he said, you think your kids are your property. No, I don't. I think my kids are my responsibility. Because they are.
Well, what my kids aren't is what MSNBC tried to portray them as, which is everybody else's property.
Takes a village. Okay. They're my responsibility. Now, again, there's an expectation on me as a parent to handle that responsibility appropriately. And Justin said, well, what about when parents don't affirm care? It depends on what you mean by affirming care. Again,
yeah, that's a big fat no.
Well, it depends what affirming care is, Paul.
Like if sexual affirming care.
Maybe if affirming
your 13-year-old says I want to be a boy or a girl, they want to be the opposite sex.
Well,
are you going to take them to the doctor and say, "Hey, my kid wants to be the opposite sex"?
I don't know if that's what he means. Maybe affirming care means that you get them into a mental health professional so that they can have someone to talk to. You know, maybe affirming care could be a wide scope of things, right? So I think parents do have some responsibilities in affirming care. But I think that line of affirming care stops when it becomes something that cannot be undone and that they're not mentally competent to make the decision on. And I meant what I said before. I think if a child has an issue, if they're being abused, if they're being whatever, they should be able to go to a person of authority, a police officer, a teacher, a principal, whatever. And that gets reported to CPS, and then CPS can do an investigation and there's a hearing. I don't think you terminate parental rights without a hearing. There has to be due process. There has to be two sides 100%. Of the story. And there's not under these current laws. But Justin is okay with denying due process to parents of children, but he's not okay with denying due process to young black kids that are shot by police inappropriately. But those kids deserve due process. I mean, you can't reject due process on one side or in another. You believe in the Constitution or you don't. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to thank Robert. He gave the 2022 numbers for suicide. Listen, Robert, just in case we're asked, could you cite that, please?
Yeah, we need to
put wherever you got that in the chat.
All right.
Paul,
I know that we're going to wrap on AM, but we'll continue this for a second on Facebook. For those of you on AM, we're back on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I don't know what we're doing or what we're talking about. Nobody knows. It's a freaking circus around here.
Oh, I can tell you what we're talking about Wednesday.
Oh, well, he'll tell you in a second. Outlaw Radio, for those of you on Facebook, stay there. We're not done with you yet. We got football picks to do really quick, too. Stay there.
So send the pain below where I need it.
Okay. That's a good song. Who sings this song? Chevelle? Yeah. God. I tried this song one time at karaoke. Yeah, it didn't go well. It's a hard song. And I used to sing a lot of hard stuff. I can't do it now.
Well, I mean, that's what you get for singing a Chevy.
So Justin just breaks out the normal tropes. Well, neither of you has ever listened to a trans person, right? Well, we've had trans people on this show. They
And
just
how would
didn't.
you know? Yeah,
They
how
just
would
didn't.
you know?
They just didn't echo your sentiments, Justin.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank
you're
you for
great
putting
at,
the Pew Research in front of me.
yeah, you're great at discounting people who are in the same boat as you, but that don't say exactly what you want them to say. Like, that's irresponsible, dude. You've never talked to a trans person. I actually have.
Yeah, we have plenty.
And you're right. A lot of trans people come from non-supportive environments. I get that. A lot of trans people are abused. I think part of the abuse is what leads them trans, to be honest with you. I think that plays into it. I certainly do. But I'm not going to label every single parent as an abuser or punish every single parent because of the bad parents that are out there. I want safety nets in place, Justin. I want a kid to go to a teacher and say, I'm being abused, I'm being oppressed, I'm being neglected, whatever. And then that mandatory reporter, there's already systems in place. They are legally obligated to report that to CPS and DSHS. And CPS and DSHS is required to do an investigation. And if that investigation yields fruit, then the parents can have their parental rights terminated. But there is a due process in effect. You don't believe in due process. I wonder why that is. I wonder why you're afraid to let parents have the opportunity to address the situation before things happen. Why would that be? Why would you be afraid of that? You don't trust you don't trust it? What? What about the kids that make stuff? I'm on Facebook. They make shit up. What about the kids that lie? What about the kids that are seeking attention? That stuff's all true, right? That happens. Maybe it's a small percentage, but it's still a percentage. Due process is necessary in our judicial system, Justin. It is built into the Constitution.
Yeah, of course, family courts.
It is built into the 14th Amendment and the 15th Amendment specifically. But you ignore the Constitution when it doesn't back up your narrative.
Remember, the family courts is pretty much a Constitution-free zone, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. And Justin says, because the child is in danger, not all of them are in danger, Justin, and you don't get a mic. You can call in on Wednesday or Sunday, but I already told you I'm punishing you. You called the show. No, I'm serious. No, I'm really serious, Paul. You called the show, you ranted, and then you hung up. And I'm sorry if you don't like it. I'll do that to anybody who does that because I think it's immature and I think it's wrong. You basically called, spout off a couple things about Paul, and then hung up and didn't even give him a chance to respond. I don't like it. I'm sorry. You can have a mic on Wednesday or on Sunday. And I'll let you call back in. I'm not trying to be a Nazi. I'm sure you're going to call me a name in chat. I'm watching for it. But that's the way it is. It's my show. It's Paul's show. It's our show. If you can't have a respectful conversation, you'll get to call in. Freaking rules. You listened to him, but you didn't talk it out, dude. You did what my ex did. And he said, I just didn't rebuttal. No, you didn't give him the respect. As far as we knew, you weren't even a part of the conversation. You hung up the phone in a hissy fit. What my ex did. Click.
I'm not going to talk to you because I'm mad. I'm here.
Knock it off.
So how do you
fucking stop it? Just stop it, man. You're a grown-ass adult talking about real issues that are infecting our societies and our children and our families. Grow the fuck up. Call and state your case and then listen and have a conversation. You're part of what's wrong with this country. Oh, well, I'm going to say my point and I'm not going to listen to the other side. Well, you're part of the problem.
Oh,
my feelings are hurt. I don't know how to behave appropriately on the radio because you guys are going to get me upset.
God damn it, man.
It's okay, Kevin. Take a breath. Take a breath.
I'm just so. This is what our country's become, right? Like 8% on the left and 8% on the right are so immature, disingenuous, and really immature that they can't have a conversation with people who disagree with them. So they spout their stuff off of their soapboxes and then they go back to their echo chambers. And it's that 16% that are fucking over the world for the other 84%. Because you 8% on both end can't even have a conversation.
Yeah, I think 8% is a pretty fair amount.
Justin, I didn't hang up because I was mad. Yeah, you hung up because you can't have an intelligent adult conversation without potentially losing your marbles. Have the conversation, dude. Grow up, dude. Have the talk. You
So
and Paul
I'm
will
gonna.
never. You and Paul will never agree. You don't have to, but you can hear each other out, see where each other are coming from.
Always
Maybe
have the
find-
conversation.
Maybe find middle ground. Maybe get a big group hug in there somewhere. Maybe a circle jerk. I don't know. Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
I think it's just the appropriate song for you right now.
Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So
no, it's all good.
frustrated.
It's all good. So I wanted to drop this hint for the listeners on Wednesday's show. I am going to expose with some truth bombs a local real estate agent / broker who went out of his way to touch base with me to ask that a certain person stop saying mean or bad things about them. When in fact this person turns out seems that they may have been again, this is my opinion, deserving of those comments, because and I'm gonna actually, after the probably tomorrow during the normal hours, I'm gonna send this real estate individual, we'll call him Justin Weiss for lack of a better name, a private message to let Justin know that on Wednesday night's show I'm gonna drop some truth bombs, because if there's one thing that I don't like, it's liars and cowards. And if you tell me that you're going to do something, and then there's like serious implications and serious issues involved, I will use this platform, Kevin, which we have spent years developing and building, because I've earned the right to. And so I will absolutely do that.
Let me respond
yeah.
to just one thing, just because I want to be transparent, right?
I'm done. Nope, that's all I wanted to say.
I know a lot of you people
I'll
have
talk
a
about
hard
it
time
Wednesday.
believing K-Dog is transparent, but I do want to say I've interacted with Justin several times. I've never had an issue with Justin. I mean, not in depth. Like, we've had good conversations. He came over and helped me scope out my septic system just out of the kindness of his heart. So I've dealt with him a couple of times. I've never had an issue with him. So I just want to be transparent that you know that before Wednesday. Now, again, I'm not going to discount your opinions, right? But I just wanted you to know that.
Well, it's okay, because you don't even know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't at all. Yeah,
it's something. It's something that we've kept very internal. Yeah. So, but I'm gonna drop some truth bombs, because people in the community deserve to know the character of the individual that they are dealing with. And I've only ever done this once before, and I was 1,000% right that time when I did it, and I'm 1,000% right this time, and I have the receipts. So
who did you do to the first time?
April Ferguson.
That's right, you did. That's right. Okay, I thought you were going to bring up Sal, but okay.
No, I didn't really have much in the way. I mean, that was all interaction. That was all him.
Yeah,
that was all him. There was nothing to that. That was just a person spouting.
Whoever let him call the show that night is a total dick.
Yeah, don't be so hard on yourself, Kevin.
I know.
It wasn't me, was it?
It was me.
Oh, okay.
It was my worst friend moment with Paul.
So self-deprecating humor, got it.
It really was my worst friend moment with Paul. All right, really quickly, can we do football picks? It's just the three of us, so this should go by pretty quick.
So how about them Seahawks?
Phil?
Burn in the fire. I know.
Oh man, that's just some messed up ish right there. All right, let's do these picks. So it's a short week too, because not shorter than normal, but more games earlier in the week. So 3 games on Thursday for Thanksgiving, 1 game on Friday as well, which is new. I like that, the Black Friday game. I think that's great. So Thursday night, Green Bay at Detroit, Thursday morning, Green Bay at Detroit. Why does Detroit get a Thanksgiving game every year? I know it's tradition, but they always so much for so long.
Yeah,
who do you get?
I'm going to take Detroit.
Yeah, me too. And Philip?
Green Bay.
Andy and Trojo both picked Detroit as well. All right, Washington at Dallas. There are games that are really easy to pick. This for me is one of them. I have Dallas. Phil?
Washington.
Paul?
Oh, yeah, Kevin, you're making a bad choice here. Washington's looking really, really strong. If you're Phil,
Paul's going with me.
I will take Dallas.
All right. Andy picked Washington. Trojo picked Dallas. Phil, you're up first. San Francisco at Seattle on the late Thanksgiving night game.
Niners.
Only viewable on NBC, by the way, if you want to watch it.
So is that Peacock?
Do they live stream their games on Peacock? I think they do. Yeah,
I don't know.
And it's not Peacock, Phil. It's Peacock.
I got subscriptions
I know
all over the map.
I hate,
but it still costs less than cable.
I hate what we've done to our streaming, and I miss the days of cable.
Maybe
TV.
it's on Root Sports. I don't know.
I can't get Root Sports on Dish. Root Sports is not on Dish.
You get it on the internet.
And Root Sports and CBS has not been on Dish for nearly a year.
Yeah, that's why you get Root Sports on the internet.
Yes, no, CBS is on. I watch CBS all the time. It's
on Dish.
CBS is
it's
Paramount.
Paramount, yeah, Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I have the Paramount app, yeah, but I'm just saying it's not on. It's not on Dish. Paul, Seattle hosting San Fran.
Well, listen, I fully expect San Francisco to win this game. They're the better team right now. They're playing better football, but I'm going to take Seattle because I'm a fan.
Do we know the extent of Gino's injury?
Well, he came back in and he did put them in a position to win that game, and I give him some serious props for that. Drew Lock is terrible. That motherfucker needs to be traded ASAP. He had one bad throw after another and was not prepared to come into the game. That was just embarrassing.
I'm not going to throw him under the bus like that yet. Remember, as the backup, he doesn't get any reps with the number one, so he really came.
He's been a starter for 3 years.
Yeah, in Denver.
So
but look what happened when Russ went to Denver.
No, here's the thing, dude. If you've been a starter for 3 years, you're not. There's a reason they traded him for Russell Wilson, and Wilson has sucked. And but that dude could not hit an open receiver if his life depended on it.
Yeah, he threw that interception that killed him too. That was really
that was
bad.
horrible. That was a horrible underthrown interception, dude. How do you make that mistake? No, sorry.
Yeah. I think it would be a close game if Gino is healthy and playing. I think it is battle at the wounded knee if Drew Lock is playing. I think no matter what, San Francisco.
If Drew Lock is playing and quarterbacking for Seattle, Seattle's no shot.
Yeah, I'm going to pick San Francisco. I don't want to, but San Francisco's going to win that game. Paul, Miami at the Jets on Friday, the first Black Friday game.
Dude, don't make race an issue in this, please.
No, Black Friday. Sorry.
I'll can I just point out the obvious?
Sure.
Why do they call it Black Friday and put everything on sale? I'm just going to leave it at that.
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Phil, why?
Historically, that's when they finally go in the black.
Oh, when they get above positive for their
for
business
the year.
For the year. Oh,
historically,
no.
I just looked it up online too. That's one of the. So hold on. So there's 3 theories. That's one of them.
Yeah, they're just theories, but no, come on. Businesses don't go in the black at the end of November.
Oh, hold on.
Or nobody be in business.
This is online, and if it's online, it must be
not
true.
Small business they're talking.
It said one theory is that the name comes from accounting practices that use redding for negative numbers and blacking for positive numbers. Black Friday would be the start of the year when retailers would no longer be in the red. Another theory is that the name comes from the chaos that resulted when large number of shoppers came to the city to shop the day after Thanksgiving. Police in Philadelphia began using the phrase Black Friday in the early 1960s. A third theory is the name comes from the idea that stores would earn a profit on the day after Thanksgiving. After operating a loss for the year, stores would become, well, that's the same as the first theory. All right, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah,
all right.
No, nobody that knows accounting thinks that that's the case. Because you it's like when they talk about the day when you as an American citizen finally break even based on your tax rate, whatever day of the year that is. It's like, isn't that like in April or something like that? Up until that point, you're just working to pay for your taxes. After that, you're working tax-free is the gist of it. Businesses could not exist if they didn't make money until November 30th.
If they only had a month's worth of profit.
Yes, it's just not happening. Nobody in their right mind could believe that. No, that's not.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I've been in business for 30 years, and that's not how. Nobody be in business. Nobody.
Hold on, Paul. Paul, let me ask you a question.
Corporations here, but okay.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
If they only made a profit after Thanksgiving, that's about a month, right? So they would be at 8% profit, essentially, because that would be one month out of 12. So if a business has 8% profit, isn't that considered relatively profitable?
No.
If they make 8% profit over all of their expenses, that wouldn't be profitable?
No. Who would be in business to make 8%? You wouldn't be in business. You'd stick all your
8%
money into
profits?
stocks and bonds.
Are we
Yeah,
talking
8%
net?
is not 8% is not dick. No, it's
Okay,
not.
I've worked for businesses that didn't make dick then.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Well,
were like,
listen, no
pulling 2 to
disrespect, but
3% net at the end of the year.
listen, when you've owned a business for years, then come talk to me about it. I'm not trying to be a dick, dude, but I mean, seriously, you guys
I'm not saying,
can't
I'm just
believe
talking
that.
about the experience the business I worked for had.
Yeah, you can work for it. That's the key there, right? Working for. It's a whole nother aspect when you are
relaying.
running it and you have employees. You
That's
just
a lot of
So
stress,
according
yeah.
to Brex.com, I'm just going to read this.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing, but according to Brex.com, a good profit rate margin varies by industry. According to the
absolutely true.
Corporate Finance Institute, 20% is considered a good return. 10% is considered average, which isn't much more than the 8, and 5% is considered low. A grocery store might only have a 1 to 2% profit margin because they rely on large volumes of customers.
For sure. Yep, you
So-
push volume.
Yeah, so maybe the 8% is an average overall, encompassing all. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a good question. Let's go back to football picks because you guys are making my head spin. Miami at the Jets, Paul, on Friday, on Black Friday. What do you think of Black Friday, Paul? Why do they call it that?
Well, they shouldn't call it Black Friday and put things on sale. That's what I'm saying.
No way.
No
Miami.
way. For fuck's sakes. All right, go ahead, Paul.
See, I don't swear. I just get other people to do it for me.
That's right.
Miami.
I'm taking Miami as well. Phil?
Miami.
What?
I have a new system.
Okay.
Let's see if you figure it out.
Andy picked Miami and Trojo picked the Jets. New Orleans at Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta. This is your shit stain game of the week. Phil?
Saints.
You're picking the road teams, huh? Paul?
I don't think it really matters. These two teams are so evenly and horribly matched. I'll take Atlanta.
All right, fair enough. And Phil, Pittsburgh at Cincy.
That's the Pirates, right?
No, it's the Steelers.
Yeah, that's the Pirates.
It's for Steelers. Oh
my God.
What do I know? That's baseball, isn't it?
It'll be a good game though.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Who are you picking?
Pittsburgh.
Paul?
It'll be a good game. Cincinnati's at Pittsburgh.
Where
are they playing? I'll take whoever the home team is. Okay, I'll take Cincinnati.
All right, I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. I don't know if you heard this or not, Paul. This may change your mind. Did you hear that their quarterback, Joe Burrow, is out for the remainder of the season?
Oh, hell yeah, I changed my mind. I'll take Pittsburgh.
Yeah, me too. I really like Joe Burrow for sentimental reasons. My dad was a big fan. But who's their quarterback now? I'll tell you who their quarterback is. Jake Browning, the former University of Washington quarterback.
I couldn't even have told you he was in the NFL.
He was not drafted. He was an undrafted free agent who's the backup.
I wonder if has he started a single game? Because he's been in the NFL now for a while.
No, he's not started a single game. Well, no, he might have because Joe Burrow's been hurt before. But let me give you his numbers on the year so far. Ready? He's played in 2 games. He's 8 for 15 with a 53.3% completion ratage for 68 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and a passer rating of 87.6. So not horrible, but he's not Joe Burrow. And he's going to be exposed when he plays. He's not that good.
He was a great pocket passer at the University of Washington, but that doesn't. I mean, obviously he does stuff right, or he wouldn't have made the roster. So props to him for that. But
well, we'll see. It's gonna be awful. Paul, Carolina at Tennessee.
Good game. Good game.
Matter.
If you like pig slop, I'll. Who's home team?
Tennessee.
Then I'll take Tennessee.
So, did you hear about what Carolina did today? Or no. I'm thinking about the wrong team. All right. So you have Tennessee.
Might as well. Yeah, they're the home team, right? So
me too. And Phil.
Caroline.
All right. Tampa Bay at Indianapolis. Again, another game I just don't know what to do with. I'm going to take Tampa Bay, but I just don't. There's some awful games. I mean, this week is going to be awful games. Philip?
Tampa.
And Paul?
A ton of parity in the NFL right now. And I mean a ton, right? I mean, statistically, Seattle did a really good job and should have not lost that game today, statistically. But they did.
And if they're not getting hurt, they probably would have won.
Agreed. So, I'll take the home team. When in doubt, choose the home team. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're probably going to be right. I'm going to regret making that pick, but okay.
You're up on me by like 74 games, dude. I think you'll be fine.
New England at the Giants, Phil.
England.
That's a good pick. It's a good pick.
Well, you know what's amazing is you heard the Giants beat Washington today.
Yes, but Washington's terrible.
I know, but the Giants lost their quarterback. I mean, Tommy DeVito, your third string quarterback, is starting for them because Tyrod Taylor was number 2. He's on IR. Daniel Jones, their starters on IR. They're starting Tommy DeVito. Like Danny DeVito's twin.
Didn't the well, first of all, I would be hard pressed to bet against a New England Patriots team with Bill Belichick as the coach, right? Because that dude, if he can't find a way to beat you, he'll find a way to cheat you.
Yeah.
So
they've looked bad this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're definitely rebuilding since Tom Brady left. But I mean, they're playing another horrible team, dude.
Yeah. Who do you pick?
I mean, he's the kind of guy that's so crafty. He might be losing games on purpose to get a top draft choice.
Well, maybe. Who are you picking?
New England.
Yeah, me too. It's just a horrible game. All right, Jacksonville at Houston. This is the game I was going to bring up to you, Paul. Did you hear what Houston did today?
No.
All right, you've heard that they have that rookie C.J. Stroud, right?
Yes, from Ohio State. Yeah, very good quarterback.
He has been playing like lights out.
Yes, he has.
Today, Houston played the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are awful, right? I mean, let's just be honest. Cardinals are awful.
Yes,
but here's
sure
here's what C.J. Stroud did today. Hold on a minute. Well, I can't find it. I could find it. I don't want to spend that much time. On the year, he has a passer rating of 99.3. He has 17 touchdowns, only 5 picks, and he's completing 62.8% of his passes, throwing for about 300 yards a game. It's mad sick what he's doing on a team that was horrible last year. Just absolutely horrible last year. Jacksonville at Houston. Paul, you're picking first.
I'll take Jacksonville.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Phil? Your mic's not on.
Jacksonville at Houston, right?
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
All right. Cleveland at Denver. This should be a really good game. Denver's been playing really well lately. I'm going to pick Denver because they're at home. Phil?
Cleveland.
And Paul?
Man, I mean, Russell Wilson's starting to get his feet back under him. He's a hard one to bet against once he's playing on a good ball team. So
he's lost some weight too, so he's able to run around a little bit better now too.
So now you're saying he was fat? That was the problem.
He had some extra pounds on him. He did. He was carrying some extra weight in the belly.
Well, I'll take Denver.
All right, me too. All right, Phil, the Rams at Arizona. Just a whole bunch of crappy games, man.
Rams.
Paul?
Rams.
Yeah, me too. All right. Paul, Kansas City at Las Vegas.
Kansas City.
I'll take Kansas City as well. Phil?
Kansas.
All right. I'll pick first Buffalo at Philadelphia. This will be a good game. I'm taking Philadelphia. Buffalo is just too inconsistent. Phil?
Buffalo.
And Paul.
Who's the home team?
Philly.
I'll take Philly.
Phil, you'll pick first. Baltimore at the Chargers. God, man. You know, every time I think the Chargers are going to start doing something, they pee all over themselves.
A lot of similarities between the Chargers and the Seahawks this year.
Yeah, there
I guess
are.
I'll take the Birds over the Bolts.
Baltimore it is. Paul?
Baltimore.
Yeah, me. Yeah, I'm really tempted to take the Chargers.
No, you're not. Not really.
No, I am because Baltimore does this thing where they just lose games they're not supposed to. They're on the road. They'd be in LA, but I'll take Baltimore. All right, Paul. Chicago at Minnesota on Monday night. Who in the bloody blue hell thought this was a good Monday night game?
Well, it's Chicago, first of all. So they figure by putting that on Monday night, right, they're going to automatically have a nice big draw because they're the Bears. So I'll take, they're in Chicago?
No, they're in Minnesota.
Oh, well. Speaking of which, didn't Kirk Cousins just sign with?
No, Kirk Cousins is hurt. Kirk Cousins is hurt and out for the rest of the year.
Somebody just signed with the New England Patriots. A big name
like
quarterback.
A quarterback?
Yeah, quarterback.
A big name quarterback? Hold on. Let me
yeah,
look.
somebody who wasn't
no
playing.
Way. For
Yeah,
fuck's sakes. Hold on.
But so you're talking about Chicago and Minnesota. Boy, they're in Minnesota.
They don't. Their depth chart in New England for quarterback is Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, and Will Grier. Yeah, they don't have anybody.
Yes, no. Somebody just signed. I would just do a quick search. At least I thought that's what I had read earlier today. Very much in passing. Read it in passing. But anyway, I'm going to take Minnesota.
All right, Phil.
As the Bears.
All right.
You give me enough time to queue up things and everything.
Hold on.
And at the end, I have a game of Name That Tune.
I got Minnesota as well. All right, double down time.
Dallas.
You're going with Dallas?
Yeah, I'm going to double down with Dallas.
Let me think.
Is that what I smell?
I'm going with San Francisco.
Ironically, so am I. I'm going double down against the Hawks.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Okay, it's cool. Everybody has the right to do it. Not fans.
Well, no, we're fans, but I'm a realistic fan.
Cool.
Man.
No, don't.
I'm trying to be the anti-winner here. So
listen, here's the deal, Paul.
I don't need to hear the deal.
The deal is this: the Seahawks are in big trouble right now, especially if Geno's hurt at all. On top of that, the Mariners are pissing me off because the latest word that came out is the Mariners are not even going to go after Shohei, and they're looking for mid-range offensive talents.
Mm-hmm. Because they have a salary cap.
Well, it's time to stop going to games. It really is time to stop putting money in the pockets of those.
Well, actually, I take
they
that back.
decide to
Major League
spend
Baseball doesn't have a salary cap. What?
No, but the ownership has basically put their own salary cap on there.
Well, they're going after that other Japanese pitcher. And they've made that pretty clear. I don't remember the Yamamoto.
But we
name.
Don't need another pitcher. We had the third best pitching staff in all of baseball last year, and no offense.
And well, I'm not disagreeing with you, and I think they should absolutely make a push for Shohei Ohtani. Because Ohtani isn't going to be pitching next year because he's having surgery. But you know what? Dude's like one of the best hitters in the American League too. So. I mean, he hits for power. He hits for average. Dude's a lot like Babe Ruth, quite frankly.
But they're not even going to make a play for him, Paul.
Well, listen, that's only a rumor, Kevin. I was just reading about that today. Nobody has said that. That's only speculation. And what I was reading was such speculation. They're like, we don't think the Mariners are going to make a play for Shohei Ohtani. And while another guy was like, oh, well, I think they're going to because of their long-term connection to Japan. And they're already going after that other Japanese pitcher. So I've seen it go both ways, dude. And listen,
Well, if anybody knows about going both ways, it's Paul. What now?
Well, yeah, dude, totally. And in this sense, right? We can identify however we want. We could sign the worst pitcher and the worst hitter and just identify them as Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, we could. That's a great.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a
Right?
great point. All right, buddy. We need to touch on this. Thank you, Rick, for bringing it up. If you're still here, the North Kitsap Vikings yesterday in overtime beat the defending state champ, Linden, whatever they are, to move on to the state semifinals in high school.
Good for them.
So good for North
them.
Kitsap. Nice for the Vikings. They'd lost to Linden the last 2 years. So that's good stuff, man. And congratulations to North Kitsap. The Linden Lions. And you can catch the games. You know, we still have all the games here on Megatalk. So you can listen to them live and in charge on the Megatalk radio network, off the live stream online, all of that.
Go to TuneIn.
And just ask it to play Megatalk. All right. Parting shots for you, my friend Phil.
It was just time to go home. It's been a long day.
Yeah. St. Paul, the voice of two-way. Anything you want to say?
The voice of two-way?
Yeah, the voice
Really?
of going both ways.
You're a poet and didn't know it.
Wow. Good one, Phil. That was good. Poet and didn't know it. I like it.
Wait, what kind of dog is that? A Dachshund next to you?
No, this is one of my little red healers.
Okay. When am I going to be invited to your house? You've lived there like a year, and I've still never been invited out there.
Are we having a Christmas?
My
party
daughter's
for
been
the show?
invited out there. We talked about it, but we haven't set a date yet.
So we'll figure that out. Let's make it something informal on a Wednesday night or something out here. But anyway, yeah.
Okay. Parting shots.
Yeah, because we could do the Wednesday night show here live.
I don't know if we
provided I have
can. Your
that's
internet
working.
is so wonky, dude.
Well, I don't have everything I'm running right now is off a hotspot because my internet is down.
Fair enough. All right.
Anyway, no real closing words tonight. We're good.
Okay. I'm going to actually, in all realness, I'm going to give an actual real parting shot tonight. I do encourage people to check up on their friends and their neighbors and their loved ones. The holidays can be a really tough time for people.
Fuck you, man. It took you 25 years to fucking recognize that I hate the fucking holidays. Phil's out there playing holiday Christmas music because he thinks it's a fucking joke. I had to jump through this screen and shit in your dinner. I can't believe you fucking start coming out with that shit now all of a sudden. Oh my God, what a friend.
So I would encourage you to check in on your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones.
Guess that was a parting shot.
Especially people that you already know are having some challenges in their lives or whatever. The suicide rates this time of year are bad. Check in on your vets. Check in on people that you know that have gone through significant family changes, that are doing a Christmas alone or holiday season alone for the first time or after the loss of a loved one or whatever. Just reach out and show some love. Ignore Paul. He's a little sensitive. And by the way, Paul, in your honor, last weekend, I did post in our chat, no Christmas music.
And did you hear any today?
And we didn't play any tonight.
Or
so I don't
last
know.
time?
So you're a goddamn Democrat, Paul. I'm a victim again, even though there's nothing here to victimize
I
you
legit
tonight.
thought things were joking. I legit thought we're
Phil
going to
didn't-
tease Paul.
Phil didn't know the
I didn't get
extent.
the memo.
Phil didn't know
How
the extent.
screwed up it was. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, man.
Phil didn't know the extent. You can blame me for it.
You guys got to build a bridge, man.
All right, Paul. Hey, Paul. Paul.
Which is ironic, given the song I want to play at the end here.
Oh, we have a song to play at the end. All right.
Go ahead. No, Phil said he wanted to do it. Name that tune or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Anyway, I'm going to end the stream and.
Well, are you going to play the song first?
Oh, sure. Okay,
Yeah,
let's
and
see if
then
you
we'll
name
see-
that album.
The album or the singer? or the song?
If you can name the band, the song, or the album would be the most ironic, given what was just discussed.
Okay, go ahead.
Isn't it ironic?
This is Alter Bridge. No. Turn it down a little bit.
It's best heard at high volume, sorry.
Well, I know, but you got to be able to hear us talk over it. What the? Is this what you listen to in your free time? Are you a headbanger?
I listen to all sorts. The word is eclectic for me. So,
all right, turn it down and tell us.
The band is Project 86. The song is Spy Hunter, and the ironic name of the album, Songs to Burn Your Bridges By.
Oh, okay. Kevin Nelson said in chat, he's right. We should have mentioned it earlier. Rosalind Carter passed away, the wife of Jimmy Carter. She went into hospice, I think 2 days ago, passed away
Just a couple
today.
days ago, yeah.
Jimmy Carter has been in hospice for like 6 months. But Rosalind went pretty fast when they moved to the hospice. I think Jimmy Carter was a not a great president, but a humanitarian of just so many different ways after he left office. And their love story is a really cool love story to pay attention to. So, Jimmy listens to this show all the time. I get emails from him every once in a while, just how much he loves this show. So my condolences go out to you, President Carter, on the loss of your wife. I am sorry for your loss. And can I tell you guys a truth before we get off the air? The first thing I did when I found out that she'd passed away was I Googled whether or not federal employees get a day of mourning off when a former first lady dies.
Such an asshole.
Well, because when a former president dies, they shut down the federal government for a day, and it's a national day of mourning, and you put all the flags at half mast, and all government offices are closed. And so I just wondered if they were going to do that when a former first lady died, but I didn't find any precedents for that. So,
in other news, Carter's still likely to live longer than Biden.
What about that? And Rick says, if you collect vinyl, you should visit Rockin' Rubies in Paulsbo. Where's that at, Rick? Really quick, if you can tell us. Is that on Front Street?
Paulsbo.
But we're in Paulsbo's a wonky city, man. Their hub is everywhere. Like
if it's a vinyl shop, it's on Front Street.
You got Front Street. You got Viking Way.
It's probably right next to the across from the Italian place.
Maybe
and then you have the old Hava project area where Walmart's at and Home Depot. Yeah, you're right, Kevin. It's as a city goes, man. It's got like 3 or 4 main areas. So yeah, it's.
But the best, really, my favorite place to go in Paulsbo is to Sly's because they have the Viking cups, which are amazing.
Oh, hot damn! I'm wrong.
Liberty Bay by the Viking statue.
No, it's next to a Roy Dye.
Yeah, on Lindvig Way.
Yeah, right across from the fish park.
Okay. All right. So stop in and see him. If you guys find any Journey vinyl, I'm always looking to pick up some Journey vinyl.
Damn, I was wrong.
I'd love to go up there and do some shopping, but every time I find a place like a record shop, man, they always charge out the ass. And it's like, man, I just want to be able to find a place like Goodwill where I can go in and buy good records for like $5, But there's something, yeah.
They have vinyl and Legos.
And Legos. That's
a great
combination.
Man. That's a great combo.
Yeah.
All right. Robert Parker said, so government cubicle monster of you wanting a day off for Rosalind Carter passing. I didn't say I wanted it. I was just curious. I mean, listen, if they order me not to work, I can't work. I'm sorry. It's not my choice. You can't blame me for being curious. If it happens on Tuesday and I don't have to go to the office in Seattle, you're not going to hear me complain.
We did bring up Rosalind Carter. That's important. 2 years ago today, Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted of his murder charges. So just
was it 2 years ago?
For my friends on the left. Yeah, because it's important.
I love when the people on the left called him a racist, even though the 2 people he shot were white.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a racist.
There were 3
people he shot.
Oh, 3 people. All of them were white, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. The 2 that he killed were white. The third one was white, but and that dude was carrying a gun and pointed it at him. Yeah.
Yeah. What is Kyle Rittenhouse up to now? Do we know?
He's going to college.
Is he?
He's probably
Arizona State.
Keep low key and have good security.
I think. Yes, I think that's. He's in the middle. He has filed a huge lawsuit against some different news organizations.
Not us.
Not that much.
Did he freeze up again?
I don't know. I think this is Paul's way of saying goodnight.
Let's give him a second.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Okay, after 2 Mississippis, it's just awkward.
Oh, I want to mess with him when he comes back. I want to be like, I can't believe you said that about Paul, Phil. But
no, it's anytime.
Phil, I can't believe you said that about Paul, man. That was wrong. What's all you're back?
I heard it all, but the app on my end has some issues because anytime you switch off to try to look something up, it freezes. So
on your cell phone?
Yeah,
don't do that.
All right, guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thanks for both of you for being here tonight. We hope that Dennis and Lori both feel better. We hope that Tom travels back safely from the confines of the People's Republic of California.
You still want me to burn in a fire? Or are we good again?
You're a mean person, Phil. That's all I have to say. Good night, everybody. Outlaw Radio Network. Fuck off.